is happening, everybody? Welcome back. Tour Life. It's May 6th, and we just had what would have been a very exciting past weekend in disc golf, and the PDGA goes, wait. Let's make it a little bit more spicy. So we got a good one for you today. We got some great guests coming on. Hopefully Isaac is able to make it on. I know he's going to be traveling, so there is some maybe reception issues. But we have Hanna coming on, who had a breakout tournament. Missy, obviously, coming on too after her win. And next week, stay tuned. Hopefully, we'll get Sully on as well. He's not able to make it right now. His flight got delayed, so he won't be able to make it tonight. But he had an incredible tournament as well. So some great guests tonight. Very excited. No ad to read either. So Uli, we're jumping right into it. How's it going, brother?
It's good. Actually, 1 second.
Oh, has he got something? Uh-oh. Wait a sec. Wait.
Had to get that blue in there, boy. What up?
Oh, I thought you were going to show this off. Shout out.
Oh, let's go.
2024 Grippy. Yours should be in the mail soon.
Oh, we got another one?
Yeah, we won last year, longest podcast.
Dude, you kidding?
You got to put it next to your one from the year before.
Bro, I got all this stuff. Bro.
That's what I'm saying. We're on fire. We can't be
Did we win anything else?
No, we just got longest podcast.
Oh, well.
But we'll take it.
We take.
But yeah, how's it going, man? how was this past week?
It was good, man. Long week, exciting week. Lots to talk about the major for sure. As far as I go, I basically wrote it beforehand. I wrote this, what was going to happen. I said, hey, if I can get through the long course, the first 2 rounds, I'm going to be golden. Didn't. Got to the short course. I was 5 back of the cut.
Yeah.
And
I saw you
started
grinding.
making a little push, and I thought it was going to be 8 under. I told the boys the night before, I'm like, listen, if I can get to 8 under, I think I make it, which would mean I would have to shoot 7 under. And I'm on track, and I'm looking at the scores, and it pushes to like 9 under, and I'm like, oh, crap, because I'm sitting at like 4 or 5. I get to 6, so I'm like looking pretty good. I'm like, okay, if I can get 2 more birdies, I know I'm in. Have like about a 50, 60 footer on this hole. Pretty tough. Well, scratch that. Let's rewind. One hole prior. Been just diming hole 15 or 14 the whole tournament. Look in my bag. Buzz nuke gone. My baby.
You left it?
In the field. Dude, and this is my disc. You've played with me before. This is the only disc I have that can hold up in the wind and give me a little distance. It's gone.
You got to take photos. That's the cheat code.
Dude, I have Brad.
Oh,
He just goes straight out there, gets him. He comes up first tee. He goes, dude, we're down a dog. He says, we're down a dog. And I'm like, oh, crap. Which one is it? He goes, I looked at the good ones. There's none on, like, we have all our good ones. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I do like a quick runoff. Then they're calling me up there. They're like, Paul, we need you now. I'm like, okay. So I don't get to look at the bag. We tee off. I'm grooving, playing well the whole round. Get to that hole, looking in the bag like, oh, no. Just so you know, I need it on that hole. I need it on the next hole. I need it on all 4 of the last holes. Because it's like my disc, you know. So now I'm in shambles. I give myself like a 50-footer, run it, hits the rim, rolls to 50, miss that one. Now I bogey. And I'm like, this can't be right. So now I basically think I have to birdie out. Get to hole 16, throw a tremendous drive for me, past the Mando. That hole was hard, really tough in the wind.
Yeah.
Guess what? Have 380 in, straight headwind. Oh, wait, where's my disc? Don't have a disc that does that. Throw it up there, 50 short, run that one, rolls to 30, make it. Birdie 17, which is a big-time birdie for me. That's a tough one. And then get to 18 and just don't throw a good enough drive, have to lay up, try to throw it in. Don't leave it 40, make that. Then all of a sudden I'm sweating. You know the sweat where you're like, okay, now I got to watch everybody come in, and I'm pretty sure I miss.
We'll talk a lot about commentary later on, but I do have to say it was funny hearing Ian talk about it because they did a great job.
Oh, good.
Production did a great job of like showing a lot of people on the cut line.
Yeah.
And showing them like on 18 what they have to do. And it was funny because Ian said something like, I think this was maybe an FPO talking about the cut. And I think it was like right after Jen Allen had a putt that she probably needed to make on 18 and she missed it. And now he's like, yeah, it's probably really tough because it's like, you don't want to root against people. And it's like, Ian, you clearly have never played anything competitive. Everyone's rooting.
Oh yeah.
Us. You're rooting for someone to just completely launch their disc in the air and throw the worst shot.
Oh, it's funny, dude.
For that.
So I'm watching scores. I get done and I think it's 8 under. All of a sudden it drops down to 7. I'm at 6 and there's like 4 guys coming in that can get me in. And I'm like watching and I need 2 people to shoot 2 over in the last 3 holes. None of them do it except for Bradley Williams gets to 18, takes a triple bogey to jump me in again. And I'm like, oh shoot, this can't be happening. Like I wrote him off, he's a consistent guy. Yeah. Like he's going to close it out. No, triple bogey. And then there's like 4 other guys who just have to bogey 18. They all par it. And so I was sweating the whole day, but I mean, that's the way it goes. I mean, I'd rather have a sweat than be 5 out. You know what I mean? And I played pretty good.
You played your way back into it a little bit.
It's so hard to know what the actual number is going to be because in this day and age, like the number jumps and drops significantly.
So many people that are packed in now to where, there's not a big gaps anymore like there used to be.
And that's a tough cut because there's only 100 people. So there's only 40 people who get in and you got to shoot like pretty dang good.
The 40% doesn't make sense when the field is smaller. That doesn't.
No, I don't know.
It doesn't make sense.
I like that there's a cut. I love that. I think that's important. I don't think you should play 2 courses. If you have 2 courses, I don't think you should go bang, 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 bang.
I didn't think they were doing that. I was surprised when I heard they were doing you know what the reason for that, Uli?
No clue. So that was one of the things.
No, I'm going to let me speculate. Well, I'm going to speculate.
Hit me.
I don't think they wanted to change the baskets multiple times.
Okay.
That's my speculation. Why else?
Well, they have to take the baskets out anyway, so that's hogwash. They have to take them out for the FPO anyway, so you're moving them and putting them back in anyway.
Okay, my speculation is incorrect then. I stand
So
corrected.
I don't know. I just know that it was so weird. I told you this. I thought the second layout was going to be way easier, and it ended up playing way harder.
Windier?
It was kind of, but I mean, that first course is so big, dude.
The first day there was like no wind. People were throwing rollers and doing whatever they wanted.
And
it seemed like the wind picked up a little bit after the first round.
Maybe, but I didn't have a problem. I don't know. I think it was a lot shorter and scoreable. But it is what it is. Like you have the course, you're supposed to play good. You don't, you get cut. That's the way it is, and I'm fine with it. But it was fun. It was fun to try to claw my way back. Yeah, and it's stressful. I always say that famous saying is there's no pressure like last cash pressure, because you're obviously not playing good.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to somehow scrap out with a bunch of other guys who aren't playing good. And you're basically fumbling strokes, which is exactly what I did down the stretch to try to get in. It's hilarious. There's nothing like it.
Would there have been a little bit more pressure? Like what do you think the change would be had it been after the second round? So trying to get into the weekend.
Yeah.
Versus 3 rounds in. How would that change since you are someone that was on the cut line? How would that have changed if it was a round earlier?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough any way you look at it. You have to really change your gameplay a lot of the time because like 3 rounds, I wish it was 2 rounds. Puts a lot more pressure on the now instead, you know what I mean? To where like we're just kind of playing golf at that point. There's nothing on the line. And I think if there's something on the line that early, the gameplay is going to be a lot different for a lot of people. So I don't know if it really changes because you're just kind of playing golf the first round, then the second round, kind of like round 1, and then the third round's the cut. And I think it would be the same if you're just playing golf the first round and then it's, stressful environment the second round.
I guess the only thing I could see that would change would be like more if you made the cut, you feel like, okay, I actually have a lot. I have a lot of time to make a move.
Yeah.
Where if you would have made the cut, yeah, you could probably move up some spots, but it's like you're not going to win.
No, exactly. So it's like
where you could theoretically. I mean, Calvin.
This tournament was different because let's say I make the cut on the number.
Yeah.
I shoot a 10 under, which is totally doable. I could get into the top 10.
Yeah, because that's what Calvin did, right? Calvin pretty much made it, and
he got 8th place, I think.
Yeah, he moved up 24 spots into 8th.
What is 16 under?
16 under would have put you in top 15.
See, that's a big jump from but I missed the cut. You get what I mean? So
I think second round, you have a chance, like a legitimate chance to win if you play well both days, though.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
So that to me, I think would be the difference is, a 4-round tournament making a cut after the 3rd round. There's a lot of people that are getting in that probably have no chance of winning. Where if you do it after the 2nd round, it's still probably up in the air. Like a lot of stuff can happen that 3rd round to where the 4th round, who knows what happens. And we saw it a lot on the MPO side where people did not step up to the plate that final round. Some people
that's
that were
what's crazy too is FPO's 45% get in. Their cut's 45%. So ours is 40. And I'm with you. I think at 100 people, 40 people, you pretty much got the cream up there at the top. And I don't think it changes. I honestly don't think it changes much if you add more people, if there's going to be more people wanting to watch some people who may have missed the cut. I mean, if you go down the list of who missed the cut, it's like business as usual. You know what I mean? It's like me and the same guys who are kind of right there battling for that spot typically. So I don't know. It's definitely a conversation that's can go either way in my eyes. Like, I just don't know why a major you wouldn't have more. You wouldn't let 120 in or something. I feel like they do have time, but it's whatever. I think there was only 96 last year. It was like the hardest tournament to make the cut last year.
So if we go to, let's see here, if this is working. Yeah. So if we go to round 2, right? And we say in round 2, we say the cut line was at 50 rather than 40. You have, I mean, for example, if you did round 2, Uli, people like Nicholas wouldn't make the cut.
Yeah.
Calvin would not have made it. Gavin Rathbun. But the thing is like 26 won it. And there are people that are like, a couple under par, like 5 or whatever under par. And it's like, if they have back-to-back really good days, they could fight themselves back into the top 10. And the thing is the way the field is going, we are getting more and more of those guys that could. I mean, Simon after 2 rounds, -6 under. Like, do we not think he could go back-to-back days, double
under.
digits?
Yeah,
like
12 under.
He definitely could. There's a lot of guys. Silas Schultz, we've seen him actually at this tournament at Champions Cup. We've seen him go off. So there are still a lot of guys in this handful. Robert Burge, we've seen him play really good at USDGC. So I guess my point in this is 40 people, 3 rounds. I think maybe something at least to experiment is like, let's get a bigger field, maybe 120, and let's get like 50 people or 60 people into the final 2 days and work itself out that way. So I like that. I like seeing it that way because I think you make the cut, you still have a chance to maybe make some moves on the weekend. But again, Uli, this only really happens at a course like this with wind.
Yeah.
Because we'll talk a little bit about the course later, but I think the wind really, really saved the day from this. But all right, a little off topic, and then we're going to have Hanna jump on here, which I'm really excited to talk to her because, wow, what a performance she had this past weekend. But I actually flew out to Vegas this week. Kelsey was retired from the Raiders. no longer a cheerleader, but she is still heavily involved with the team. And they ended up asking her if she could come out and MC, like be the host of tryouts, like doing the whole
Oh, I saw
thing.
that actually. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, and she's never done anything like this before, so she was obviously very nervous going into it, but I flew out there to surprise her and she killed it. Super, super killed it. So, very, very nice. We had a nice little time out in Vegas, and I've been on my grind again, playing a lot of basketball, as some cardio, running, lifting, all that stuff. I haven't been able to play too much disc golf, Uli, because I don't know what's going on down here, but we're getting slammed with thunderstorms all the time. So if the Disc Golf Pro Tour is listening, do not come to Texas in May, because we will not be able to get any playing out here, because it's really, really bad. But yeah, it's been a pretty good week so far, and excited to hopefully get some dry weather here soon to get out there and throw, because this past weekend, man, watching that if you're a competitor, if you've got any ounce of competition left in you, that definitely juices you up. Watching that from the FPO and MPO side. I think both sides were actually very enjoyable tournaments this weekend. So that was really great. But it looks like we do have Hanna now ready to rock and roll. So we will bring her in, joining Tour Life for the first time. How's it going?
It's good. I literally just got on, so welcome, or thank you for having me.
Hey, perfect timing. Yeah.
Yes.
So for some people, they don't think we watch FPO. We actually do watch FPO. And after the first day, I already kind of marked you down as like, all right, we need to have her come on the podcast. We got to talk to her. And I'm going to be honest, and even you yourself kind of like checked yourself out with the interview, being like, yeah, I don't really know how I'm going to play. Like, I'm not really expecting this. And you fought the last like couple rounds there. So hats off to you. That was an impressive performance to finish in a top 10. What was your bet? Do you know your best finish in a major previous to this one?
I think it's 13th at Champions Cup last year.
Okay, wow. So something about Champions Cup, even though this course is way different than Northwood. I guess the first question I have for you is, what is the feeling like playing that first round where it just feels like you can't do anything wrong? Like everything is just clicking on all cylinders. How is that feeling? And how do you get back to getting more rounds out there like that?
It felt really good. I was even throwing shots that I wasn't in practice, just like getting extra distance from tournament power, I assume, and getting in some really good spots to execute some birdies. So it was just a good day. Like the whole card was chilling, like good vibes all around. And to do that the first day was wild. And then the second day, I was just trying to find that same groove. But it didn't work out it didn't work out the way it did the first day, but it was all right.
I mean, beside from one hole though, really like that final hole, if you would have ended up, par, I mean, heck, if you birdied the final hole, you would have shot 7 under.
Yeah.
And would have been at 17 under, which would have put you after round 2, that would have put you still tied for the lead, a 3-shot lead. So, I mean, again, it's like out there when we are playing these courses that are so demanding and punishing, like that course was on certain holes, you can really lose a lot of strokes on a hole like that. But I feel like your play was pretty good that entire day up until the final hole.
Yeah, just my main play was just to play for par, because there's so many water shots and I was really afraid of losing discs. So yeah.
So it says that you've finished 13th, 10th at the major championships. That's a great record, honestly. To me, that sounds like when the bigger tournaments come up, you're playing a little bit better sometimes. What's the difference to you, like mindset or just the feeling that you have when the major comes around, that kind of your best play comes out?
I do notice that I like show up for the majors. Like I play better. I don't know. I think it's a major. Like, I don't know. It feels different, I guess.
I do want to kind of go back a little bit because I don't actually know too much about your background. So I would love for you to kind of just talk a little bit about just how you even got into disc golf, how you got onto playing on the pro tour, just kind of your journey to where you are now.
Yeah. So I started playing in 2014. My mom was dating this guy who played, and they invited me to go out, and I went during lunch hours, my senior year of high school, and then I got addicted, and I just kept playing, and I only played like casually. I didn't really care about like tournaments or competing. And then in 2020, I met up with the Spokane Ladies League, and they kind of pushed me into competing, and I really enjoyed it.
Mm.
And then the next year, I started playing locally FPO, and that's when I thought, hey, maybe I can really do this. And then that's when, sorry, I'm out of breath. I don't know why. But and then that's when I met Chris, and then he offered to take me on tour with him, and I said yes. And then that's just how my career started, pretty much.
Wow. Wow.
And then learning, like, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask, did you have any sort of background in sports, athletics, competition, anything like that before disc golf?
No. I like to play sports like as a kid with like my neighborhood friends and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And in high school, I never played sports until I found disc golf.
Interesting. Now, I feel like on tour, there's two different types of people. And maybe there's some people that's kind of in the middle, but there's like two distinct types of people. There's the people that view disc golf as a job. They view it as a career. They view it as like, I want to be the best. I'm doing everything I can to be the best. And there's other people that have what I would call like more of a surfer mindset of where it's like, hey, I get to travel the world. I get to see a lot of cool things. I get to play something that I love to play. I get to hang out with friends that I like to hang out with. And it's almost like a lifestyle. It's almost more like, where would you fit into those two? Or are you somewhere in the middle?
I would say I'm somewhere in the middle because I do like to travel and I like to see new places. And like we just went and saw the Grand Canyon for the first time, and it was beautiful. But I also want to be really good at disc golf. Like I want to be like next level Kristin or like Missy Gannon. Like I want to be in contention. And so I feel like I have been putting in the work, and I feel like I've actually really progressed in the past couple of years. So yeah, I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I like traveling and competing, and I like, the journey it's put me on.
I guess the best question to really get the like actual answer here is, if I were to hand you a check for like $500,000, would that change the way you currently disc golf? Or are you, what?
Like,
so what I'm saying is, like, if I hand you a check for $500,000, would you be like, okay, well, now I'm going to buy a house and I'm going to fly into every tournament and fly back and pick and choose certain tournaments to go to because I don't need to continue to like make, you see what I'm saying?
No.
Or would you continue to do the same thing?
I'd still do it.
Okay, so you like the traveling, you like
same thing.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, and I think it's really interesting because that there is such a, like I said, there is such a big group of people on tour right now that do like that aspect, that do want to kind of all travel together, meet up together, do cool things together when you're in different cities, different towns and stuff. So it's always interesting to just kind of hear where people are at on that, because
give me 500,000 and I'll do whatever you want. I'll fly home, go back out. I'll go on the road full time. What do you want?
Can do whatever you can do whatever you want with the 500,000, Uli. That's the beautiful thing about me giving you 500,000. You just do whatever you want. So you did mention that, you view someone like Kristin as, hey, this is someone I'm aspiring to be. I want to be at her level. What are parts of your game right now that you feel that you need to improve on to get there?
I think scrambling and upshots and being under pressure on the putting green, I think. Mm-hmm.
So did you feel a difference like round 2 versus round 1, you being like on lead card with the cameras, Like, does a 20-foot putt in round 2 feel way different than a 20-foot putt felt in round 1?
It did, because I feel like I didn't get enough putting practice during the week. I kept missing right, and I feel like when I'm off my putting game, I'm always missing right. But I feel like the cameras don't really affect that. I think it's just my lack of the practice during the week. But no, it felt fine.
Yeah, and your putting stats actually weren't were pretty solid throughout the way. You finished your final round, you finished 10 for 13 inside the circle, 10 for 14 on round 3, 5 for 7 round 2, and 12 for 15 in the first round. So like across the board, you were pretty much right around that 80% C1X. Sometimes, dip down maybe into the lower 70s, but still pretty solid across the board. But you're saying basically, hey, if I can maybe, instead of missing 4 or 5 of those putts inside the circle, if I'm only missing 1 or 2, gets me a couple extra strokes. And also too, my thing with putting is when my putting, I feel like isn't great, I feel like it puts a lot more pressure on my upshots and my drives, because I feel like, hey, my putt isn't great right now. I need to get this thing under the basket.
100%. Totally. I feel that.
Talk to me about the course now. One thing that we hear a lot of from FPO players coming on the podcast is when courses they feel like are afterthoughts for FPO players. They get the MPO course in, and then they're like, oh, shoot, we got an FPO tournament too. Let's put the basket here. Let's put a T-pad here. What did you feel about this week? Do you feel like that was a great test for the FPO field?
I think so. I feel like it was more of placement instead of distance shots. So, yeah, I feel like you had to use your brain a little bit.
How many courses do you play still where you feel where it's just like the people that throw super far, maybe not super accurately, have a massive advantage over the other people that maybe have a better playing golf strategy, laying up to certain spots?
I would say when we played DDO, I feel like they had an advantage, or D-Glow, the toboggan course.
Elevation.
But yeah.
It's getting better though. It seems it seems like it's getting better.
Oh, totally. I don't really complain that much about the courses, so I don't really have an opinion on that.
Well, that's a good way to do it. You're all playing the same course, I guess, but
yeah.
I will say, from a viewer standpoint, it is a lot more entertaining when the courses seem to be like more demanding of shots and punishing bad shots, punishing bad putts. And I think this course did a good job with the wind. It felt like if the wind wasn't there, I don't know what this course would have played like. I think it might have been a little too soft for a major for me. But the wind definitely made people second guess shots, second guess putting, and it made for a really, really enjoyable tournament. Where do you go from here? What's the, Uli just talked about how you've had a couple of really good finishes, and I believe they were all at Champions Cup too, 13th, 13th, and 10th in the last 3 Champions Cups. So where do you kind of go from here moving forward? What changes, if anything, with practice or game planning or anything like that?
Still practicing. I feel like this year I'm writing more notes about the courses. So and writing like nice and easy, smooth, because sometimes when I'm throwing, like I feel like I need to throw really hard. And so my feet go really fast, and then like I just chuck it and it just goes off, whatever. So like I got to remind myself like nice and easy. And so this year it's just all about staying calm and confident, and just doing what I'm doing because I feel like it's working. I feel like this year I have been practicing a lot more than the years past though. So yeah.
Are you making a trip out to Europe?
Yes.
Ooh. Is this have you done that before? Is this the first time, or have you been out there?
First time.
Oh, wow. Uli, any advice for a veteran that's been out to the Europe side?
I got the best advice for Europe. Here's the deal. This is what you do. Before you get on that flight, this is going to be super hard, but you stay up the day before and you stay up the whole entire flight. Okay. So you do your normal day, stay up And then when you get there, you go practice because you usually land early in the morning. You practice, you're waiting for nighttime to come, you eat dinner, and then you go right to bed. If you do that, the jet lag won't be as bad. But if you do, I see the classic mistake that everybody does. They sleep on the plane, they get there, it's early, then they're tired, jet lag, they sleep before dinner, they're super tired, and then all of a sudden they're jet lagged the whole entire time. And I'm feeling great because I've done it before, right? So stay up as long as if you stay up through the whole entire flight, at least minimum, get there, do your whole entire day. And then, because it's usually a night flight, and then you go to bed at your typical time, that's the ticket. That's the ticket.
I can't remember what tournament it was, but I believe me, Ezra, and Goose, we just didn't change time zones. And so like we were all going to bed at like 7 o'clock or something in the morning. And it was
I'm telling you, that's what happened.
We were playing rounds of because it's the light. I think it was up in
PCS.
I think it might have been. We were playing rounds at like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I remember you.
We were not there. We were not.
I knew you guys were part of that crew, dude.
I was not a fan of it. I think we slowly got onto the time zones, but that's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be. I'll say this: if you are going to win one of those majors, Hannah, make sure it's the second one because no one's going to give a rip about the first one a couple days after it.
Because they're back to back, is what he's saying.
Yeah,
you're a major champion for like 3 days.
And yeah, you got to win this. Yeah, play good the first. Okay. Play good the first one. Hey, if you win the first one, just win the second one too.
Yeah, back to back.
Yeah, that's ideal. But yeah, the first one's like I feel bad for any first time major winners because the first one no one's going to care about 2 days after. I don't know why we're doing that, but okay, so let's hear some lofty goals. What do you got for the rest of the season? What are some things, bucket list items? It can be disc golf or non-disc golf. It doesn't have to just be disc golf, but what do you got bucket list items for the rest of the year?
I really want a podium finish this year. I'm going to go to the Ho Rainforest, I think, in the Olympic National Park. Or
the what rainforest?
I think it's like the Ho.
Where's that at?
Ho. In Washington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right?
That'd be cool.
And yeah, I don't know.
You're going to be knocking off that goal early then. We're heading over to Washington soon.
Yeah. So I'm stoked on that. And then, of course, Europe. That's going to be insane. I really don't think I can stay up, though. I can't. I fall asleep so fast. If I lay my head down, I'm out.
Yeah, I get it. It's a tough thing. I'm just saying.
You got to start do you watch any shows? Are you big into any shows or anything like that? Netflix, anything? Did we lose her, Mike? Potentially. Testing.
We can see her.
We can hear too.
Yeah.
I don't know if she can hear us. Or she's just trolling the crap out of us, and this is great. Oh, we lost her. Okay. Well, Mike, if we can get her back real quick to say sayonara, we'll do that. If not, no worries. I did want to ask her one other question, though. So hopefully we do get her back. But yeah, it was testing.
Can you hear us?
I think her AirPods might have died or something.
Donzo, AirPods goner.
Is that what we're thinking?
Maybe.
AirPods might be gonzo?
I'm telling you though, the trick of staying up, Brodie. It saved my life.
The trick is to like start a series. That's what I was going to try to give her advice on.
No, you were up playing
that's the
2
trick.
a.m., bro. I don't want to hear your
No. You think that was my first time to Europe? Come on, Uli. I've been around the block many times. The trick is
start a new series.
Yeah. And you're just like locked into the series. And you're like, I got to watch the next one. All right, Hannah, you back?
Yay.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, we'll let you go here in a second, but I did want to ask, well, we have a couple questions to end on, but this one before our final questions. So I did find your interview. I want to talk a little bit more about it because I did find it very, very interesting at the end of the round, because I do think so many people, it's what is it? Fake it till you'll make it. Is that what people say? I think a lot of people do that. I think a lot of people would have come off that round and they would have asked like, hey, you played a great round. You think you could do, like, what do you think? And you'd be like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to finish 40 under par this weekend for sure. For sure. I'm the best ever. Like, I think a lot of people would fake it and just, instead of, like, you were very, I feel like, open and honest with, hey, that was one of the best rounds I've ever played. I'm going to try my best. I think I can shoot 3, 4, 5 under, I think is what you said. But for you, I do think a big, and again, it's not the cockiness, but it's like the confidence in it. What do you think needs to happen for you to not become arrogant, but to become confident in that the way you played that day, that's just always right around the corner? Like, that wasn't just like, oh, I just hit the lottery, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. But that is something like, hey, that's here, I can do that, and I'm going to do my best to do it the rest of the days. What do you think needs to change for you to kind of get that mindset?
I don't know. I feel like I need to shoot another awesome round because you got to get that confidence, I feel like.
Just stack good rounds.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm not really like an established player. Like, I don't really go out and shoot hot rounds. I just kind of like shoot all right. And so I think just trying to do it again. And I don't know, because I don't really experience that feeling.
Well, let me ask you this. Like, is that something that maybe if you're out there by yourself playing practice, that's something that you could do, is like 10 unders? And is it tournament play that it changes? And then you're saying that I sometimes shoot all right, but is all right still good to you? Like, when you're out there, does your all right rounds feel all right, or do they feel really good?
They actually feel really good. Like, sometimes I'll play by myself, and that's when I have like the most fun, or like my best rounds is when I have like myself and it's like early morning and I might have some music and then I shoot really, really well. But then when the tournament comes around, it just feels like something's just different. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, you shoot 10 under one time, it's coming again. Those things don't just happen. It's stepping stones. I remember like yesterday, the first round where I actually shot a great round, and it was at the Worlds. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't think I could ever do this. And then it started happening regularly. So look forward to it, because I think it's coming. I do.
Yeah. And watching that round, it wasn't like you had an ace and then you like made like 7 40-footers and you got a lucky bounce off of a tree and a disc was going out of bounds and it rolled back. It wasn't like one of those rounds where you're like, wow, she got every break and made some incredible shots. Like, it was a round that I watched and I'm like, yeah, I could see her doing that again. So it's in there. And I think a lot of us watching would love to see more of it, because it was really cool to see. We love seeing new names and new people jumping up the leaderboard. And also, you're someone too that's enjoyable to watch play disc golf, which is also a good thing. So we want more people like that. We don't need a bunch of robots up there playing. That's not super enjoyable for everyone. So let's go. Final question here for myself, pet peeves. So something we ask a lot of our new guests is, what is it in disc golf that just gets under your skin? Something that you just can't stand, something that you wish didn't exist, something that is out there that you just your pet peeve. What do you got for us?
I feel like it's pretty simple. I guess it's like slow play. I just don't like slow play.
You're talking to the right guy.
How is it an FPO?
Oh, like, if there's a slow card in front of me and I could see who it is, like, you know who it is. And it happens a lot. I feel like, every weekend there's a backup or two. But I feel like why you got to range your shot from 250? Like, you're just going to throw a mid-range or a putter to it. Like, I don't know.
So because I think looking at FPO, I sometimes actually go on the side that there are players in the field that maybe shouldn't be in the field, is maybe the best way of putting it. And I don't know if that slows down the place when you have someone throwing and shooting 40 times more than other people in the field. But
That's true too.
if there are also people that are, and hey, we're an open podcast, so if you want to name names, we love naming names over here on who's slow, because we'll lay down the lumber on them if they need to speed it up out there. But Uli, you got the final question.
So out of the people that you watch play that you've looked up to, who do you look at and something about their game you're just like, man, I wish I had that. That's nice.
Silva's putting stroke. Ella's forehand. Yeah, those two so far.
I like that. Yeah. They're
and
great.
You're keeping Hannah's backhand.
And then my backhand. Yeah.
Hey, love to hear that. Well, hey, it was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have you back on in the future.
Once you podium, you're back on.
Knock off all those bucket list items. Luckily for you, some of those bucket list items are going to be knocked off soon, and maybe a podium too. And like I said, if you're going to win a major, make sure it's the second one, not the first.
Try to stay up. Try to stay up the whole time when you
safe travels the rest of the way. Congratulations on an awesome tournament. It was fun watching you. I know everyone really enjoyed it. And I guess last thing is, where can people follow you? Any sort of promotional thing that people can support you?
Yeah, so I am always winning _ on Instagram, and then you can find me at Hanna Huynh on Facebook. And yeah, my sponsors are Discraft, Dark Ace, Local Line Apparel, Dr. Christy Dyes, and Squatch Bags.
There you have it, guys. The future podium finisher, Hanna Huynh. Thank you so much for joining the podcast.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course. Have a good one.
See ya.
All right. Mike, let us know when Missy is good to go. But I gotta say, I love we're seeing it more and more, Uli. And I told you, FPO is just they're just like 10 years behind MPO. We're seeing more names start to slowly pop up, and it's making it more enjoyable, man. And the thing is too, is like, we have seen some players, like, they'll have a great round, and then all of a sudden they almost miss the cut or miss cash. She finished top 10.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty good after being in that spot of like leading the tournament in a major after the first round, you know? So I love it. And pretty good on the mic too.
Yeah.
All right. So we are going to wait for, I believe, Missy to join us next. And then let's see here. Hold on. Sorry. Professional. Okay. She is ready. So we should have her here any second. And I'm excited to talk about Missy Uli, because we're about to talk to one of the more confident FPO players out there. And someone also that backs it up too, which I freaking love. Your two-time major champion winner, Missy Gannon, joins Tour Life once again. Missy, how's it feel to get that second one under your belt?
Yeah, feels great. Couldn't ask for a better outcome.
Take this as a compliment. I was surprised that you only have two. When I looked it up and I saw, like, I was like, this is only our second mate. It just seems like you win. So you've won a lot of tournaments, and it seems like big tournaments. But I was surprised. I guess that's my first question is, I mean, are we going to start rattling these things off now? What are we doing here?
I mean, that's the hope. My friend texted me right away and was like, well, you're the only FPO player that could do the Grand Slam this year. So, you know, let's go. No, but, you know, I think that, you know, the Pro Tour Championships, I think, is kind of in its own category, right? Like, it feels like it could be a major with the qualification, but then, you know, the format's kind of funky. So, yeah, I mean, you know, I do think that I've won really important tournaments, but yeah, to only have two majors is, I guess, maybe surprising, but you know, either way, I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I think too, the other thing is, like, when you do win tournaments, it's also tournaments where the field is stacked and the top players are playing well. So it's not like you walk away from it, you're like, oh, well, this person wasn't here. This person wasn't here. Oh, this person wasn't playing good. Maybe that's the other thing is I've seen you beat the best players when they're playing their best as well. And so maybe that's why I was surprised, but I was like, gosh, feels like you should have like 5 or something. And maybe you will by the end of the year. Maybe you will have 5.
Maybe.
That'd be a heck of a season, wouldn't it? Okay, so this season, I think it's safe to say with you, with how consistent you are, I think you're one of the more consistent FPO players on tour. You're not a roller coaster player where you'll win one weekend and miss cash the next. This I think it's fair to say that this season's kind of started a little slow previous to this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about, not missing cash, but, I was sweating at the Open at Austin. I can tell you that. And so, and there's the pride aspect of, having one of the longest cash streaks currently, I think MPO or FPO. And so, yeah, I mean, I was sweating. But yeah, I think it definitely started off a little slow. I don't really have the answers as to why, but, it feels, I was trending upward, the last couple of events leading up to this weekend. So, yeah, I think it was just a matter of time to like kind of just get back into the swing of things. And honestly, with the exception of last year I started off kind of hot, and then that hadn't really been the case in previous years for me. So, to start off slow this year maybe felt differently since, the year before, but I feel like I was always kind of like a late season type of person anyway. So, but yeah, I still agree. After coming off a pretty great season last year, I felt like I was certainly kind of hitting the snooze button this early season.
So nothing this past weekend that you could really put your finger on of like, my circle one putt wasn't great at the beginning of the season, but now it's on, or
they're playing for more cash. That's why.
Is that what it was? It was just a bigger paycheck?
She saw that 16 G's at the end, or the 10 G's at the end, and she was like, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I can't really pinpoint it. But yeah, maybe, maybe I'm on that Isaac Robinson track now. But no, I don't know. Yeah, can't really speak to anything in particular. I do think that like, a lot of my game was clicking this weekend, and it also helped for me that I basically threw one disc off the tee, with the exception of a handful of holes. But, I was just throwing the Captain's Thrasher off of almost every tee box, and I have like a few different ones that are slightly different stability. And so that really helped to simplify the game plan and not be able to overthink things too much.
So what about this layout, positives, negatives compared to past OTB layouts that you have from like the FPO side?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the biggest difference was that we played somewhat like 2 different layouts. The first 2 rounds we had an A layout, which again, I think it was only a few holes that really changed, but I feel like some of them changed significantly enough that it could certainly, require you to have like a completely different game plan. But yeah, I think that was the biggest difference is like after the first 2 rounds, and then, we get into the weekend, we have to just kind of reset and remember that we're, now going to be walking a slightly different direction to get to the new tee pad for layout B. But as far as like the iteration of the course, the changes were there weren't that many changes, and the course itself was pretty similar to what we've played in the past. So yeah, it definitely helped to have some experience on this property. And yeah, I don't know. I think it had a great challenge of both distance and accuracy. And, there's a lot of water carries and a lot of OB. So, and then, we dealt with some pretty extreme wind throughout different parts of the tournament. So yeah, it kind of provided every challenge you could probably think of.
Now, we're pretty critical on coverage here.
Mm-hmm.
Fairly so, I think. And one of the things I absolutely despise is how fast they cut to catch cam to where you kind of just lose the flight of the disc. So it's very difficult to kind of get a gauge of like, oh, Missy's throwing a lot of flip up backhands today, or she's throwing a lot of turnover backhands. You mentioned that you threw, your captain's thrasher on a bunch of holes. Are you manipulating the angle? Are you having, based off of the holes out there, are you having to change how the flight shape, or was the course set up in a way where you could almost throw the same shot with the same disc on a lot of the holes?
I would say that a lot of the holes just kind of require that on our layout, require that sort of like pushing hyzer. And so that's just perfect for my captain's thrasher. But, I still threw it on like hole 12 tee shot. I go up the left side, over like the little trees. And so I was throwing that, a slightly more beat in one, on like a forced over flex shot. If I really went through it, I might be able to find a couple of different things, but mostly there are just a lot of pushing hyzer shots for our layout. So, a little bit of manipulation, but mostly just perfect hyzers.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So we did talk about this a little bit last week, how it does seem like this tournament was really the first one to kind of push the envelope when it comes to changing up the course throughout the week. That's something that I've been harping on, that we need more in disc golf, because when you have, a player step up at the tee and say, by the time Thursday rolls around, a lot of us have thrown every tee shot 10, 12, 15 times to where you really feel comfortable doing it. Where's your stance on changing tee pads? So the hole stays the same, basket stays the same, but maybe it's a different tee location, requires you a different shot off the tee. Changing baskets. So maybe it's a little bit closer to the water. Maybe it's tucked. I know hole 15 was it 15 or 14? The par 3. Well, it was a par 4, I think, for you guys every day over the water. Is that 14 or 15?
That's 13. Yeah.
Was it 13?
Yeah. This year it was 13.
Okay. Where they had the basket, I think, in the B position, which was like further to the right? So you have different tee pads, different basket location, or what we saw for the first time this tournament, they just straight up different hole. Hey, it was a par 3 yesterday. Today it's a par 4, and it's just a completely different hole. Where do you feel like is the right path for disc golf?
Well, I think for like a major, it's kind of nice to, instead of just being on a completely different course, like you think of like Worlds or whatever, where we're playing, maybe 2 courses, or, I don't know, but it's the same property, but we're having to adapt to a change, mid tournament. I personally like it. I think I like it better for a 4-day event, so that it's not a completely different course, right? I like that we are again on the same property. It's just a few holes are either slightly different or, like you said, completely different. I like it. I don't know. I think specifically, I noticed it during practice. Kind of everybody was like, kind of losing their minds a little bit because they're, trying to remember what hole, what day. Yeah. But so maybe it felt daunting at first, but my strategy was my first practice round, I looked at every single hole and maybe didn't throw every hole or throw multiples on every hole, but I just made sure I could see every hole and understand which layout it was a part of. And then my second practice round, I only practiced A layout, and my third practice round, I only practiced B layout. So for me, I felt like I was pretty solid with my game plan, and obviously it seemed to work out for me. But yeah, I like it overall.
Yeah, I think just from a viewer standpoint, that would be probably the only reason I would shy away from a completely different hole, like changing a par 3 to a par 4, because it does make it challenging. Because if they had, so I guess it's hole 12. If they had hole 12, that epic par 5 every single day, it would be really like locked into my head. Like that was the crazy par 5, hole 12. But 2 of the rounds, hole 12 was just a par 4. So I think that's, from a viewer standpoint, it's a little bit challenging to kind of remember everything. And then also one of the holes has to be better than the other. Right? Like,
yeah, no, I would
one better than the other. So why don't we just play the one that's better?
Totally. And specifically hole 12, I loved that par 5. I think that it looked amazing. It made a better use of, I think, the fairway leading up to that sort of island green. So that was probably one of my favorite holes of the weekend. And yeah, I would have loved to be able to play that 4 times for sure. So yeah, I can understand that from a viewer's perspective, and I can tell you guys and as viewers that it was definitely pretty difficult to remember exactly every hole and what changed and everything like that. So I can only imagine that it was a little difficult for viewers as well.
I think it'd be way easier to just move the basket around. That changes your approach so much. I mean, like they did on the next hole, the island hole. Moving that one from spot to spot, closer to the OB right, and then kind of closer to the OB way left. I love that. Then you don't have to change the whole same tee pad all the way through, and your approach is just going to be a little different.
Yeah, the only reason I like different tees is literally for weather, right? Yeah. Let's think of a hole that we all can remember, Jonesboro hole 1. Well, old hole, this is a bad example because they changed it all, but old hole 1 Jonesboro, where it's like that epic tee shot with the basket sitting on the hill, and it plays for MPO, I think it plays like 450, 475. If it's going to be like 30-mile-an-hour winds and it's going to be headwind, I would like it to be like a shorter tee pad option that they could literally change that morning and say, hey, we're playing the shorts. Because there are certain holes that just obviously you can't do this with every hole because the wind's going to change, whatever. But I like the idea of having the ability to change tee pads based off of the weather, of where it's like, hey, this is going to be impossible. Everyone's just going to lay up. Everyone's going to get pars. Let's make things interesting. Let's move this thing up and see how people will play it. That's the only reason. But I'm with Uli. I think the different baskets is really, really exciting, and I think they did a pretty good job of it. On putting some pretty exciting baskets there on certain days. I would love to see more of it.
Well, and I know that you guys are golf fans as well. And I watch as much as I can, but I think that what seems like such a slight change on, say, hole 13 on the green, having the basket way left versus farther right and towards the water. I think that again, for me, as a golf fan, I like when they do that, when they have just slightly different hole positions, and it just changes it does change your approach by, I think, kind of a lot, honestly. You're not trying to park the short right position for that hole necessarily, because you probably are going to end up in the water. But yeah, so I agree. I think I do think I would prefer just a slight change in the basket location. But enough to make it just a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, like hole 12. I think hole 12, it'd be really interesting if they would have if they would move that like 30, 40 feet to the right. A lot of people throw that flex shot where they want it to kind of unravel at the end, but maybe turn into something where you got to try to throw something that turns the whole way. So I think it does definitely, like you said, it changes up your shots on par 3s, obviously, but on your drives, maybe you want to be more on the left side of the fairway to give yourself better angle to attack. I love that. I love seeing people have to make decisions, because the more decisions you have to make, the more mistakes you'll make, and that's more exciting for people when people are really having to lock in. All right. I know you said you have a hard out, so I do want to ask you a couple more questions before you let you go. This one's very interesting. Gary did a little digging and found out that with this win, you're now 7-0 in majors or Elite Series events where you enter the final round in the lead or tied for the lead. So you've never lost when you're in the lead or tied for the lead.
That's wild, by the way. That's crazy. That's Tiger Woods crap right there.
The Kentucky Derby just happened, so I'm gonna throw a little horse thing at you. Are you a front runner? Is that what you are? Are you someone that once you get out in front, going into that final day, you're not gonna let anyone chase you down? And then,
sorry.
Go
ahead.
The second part to that is also, do you also feel like if you're 2 or 3 back, you're not out of it?
The first part, apparently. So I am one of those people. But no, I think I don't know what it is. I think specifically when I'm in the lead, my mindset going into the final round is I'm acting like it's 0-0. I don't want to know. I obviously I know that I have a cushion, but I'm trying to trick my brain into thinking like it's 0-0. I'm just trying to win that round. So maybe that's just something that has led to that success when I am in the lead, because I'm not thinking about the cushion that I have. As crazy as it might sound, I mean, it is what it is. Even towards the end of the final round of the Champions Cup, I wasn't really quite sure what exactly was going on, because I was trying to just stay in my own lane and not thinking about like, oh, okay, I parred, she birdied, I birdied, whatever. I wasn't going back and forth like that in my brain, because it just, I don't know, it doesn't serve me well personally to do that. So I think that could be part of the reason that I find success when I'm in the lead. When I'm a couple back, I'm definitely not thinking I'm out of it. But obviously I'm going to always want to be in the lead now going into the final round, given my history, I suppose. Record. Yeah.
All right. The final question I have for you is hole 18. Was that a game plan that you were like, hey, if I get into this spot down the road, like I can just chuck it OB left, and then it's just an easy pitch up play? Was that something that you had thought of previously, or is that something that you thought like on the spot, walking up to your disc in that scenario, knowing that a bogey there wins you the major?
Yeah, I don't know that it was my game plan. Like I was thinking of that scenario specifically, but in general, every single round, I was just like, don't make the mistake of going in the water. Right. 1, I'm probably going to lose a disc that I don't want to lose. And 2, it's the worst error to make on that hole. So I think in general, my game plan was like, just shy on the side of the left of the basket. If I have a 30-footer, great. I'm going to run it probably every day. If I have a 60-footer, then, I'll probably lay up. It wasn't necessarily in my game plan. I just knew like I can't throw it in the water, no matter what round it was, no matter what the scenario was. I have to just err on the side of the left of the basket, and that's the right miss.
Were you trying to throw that inbounds on the final day?
I was, to be honest.
But like more like the 10 feet from the OB line, probably?
Exactly, okay. Yeah. But the problem was we had a tough wind. It was right to left, pretty ripping wind. So it was going to be hard to keep it in bounds with my game plan of trying to end up left. So I would have either really hang it out over the water, which would be stupid, or just go OB left.
I thought you almost did like a, hey, souvenir, and just like chucked one into the crowd because you knew it didn't matter.
I should have yelled that. That would be funny.
Now, because obviously, I mean, that's in the rules. And I think everyone in that position should play that way. And if you don't, you're probably an idiot, and you're probably not even close to winning if you don't play that way. But do you see a world where rules somehow need to change so that way, from a viewer standpoint, there's a little bit more drama coming down the stretch of like, Missy does have to complete this throw? Mm-hmm. Like, what's your take on that?
Well, I mean, even just thinking about that hole in general, I guess I'm not a forehand player, so maybe it makes more sense for people who throw forehands into that green. But even just the inbounds area that they left leading up to the green was so small. I mean, no one's going to actually land there. That's more of just like a safety zone for if you're trying to just throw over that area. You're at least going to, carry that distance if you were to go be into the water on the right, say on a forehand or whatever. But maybe they could just make it a true island hole. I don't really know, and then force you to have to throw that kind of edge of the water like drop zone shot to the island, if you go in the water. I don't know. I think they could certainly make it even more exciting than it already played, I think. But yeah, I mean, I was fortunate enough to have that cushion and be able to, make that play. But I don't know. I like island holes. I don't know. I think it would be cool to have that as an island hole.
Yeah, my thought would, I think you go island hole because I'm with you. That little strip doesn't really mean much. And also it makes that shot a lot more in your head, just like it's an island. I guess that makes it a little tougher. But the way I would, this is where I think either stroke and distance or whatever the bunker rule is, of where you force people to have to complete that throw. Right. That to me, I think would make that hole even more. I mean, it's already an incredible hole, but to make it even next level is something along the lines of where, and there's a couple holes like this on the course that I have a little bit of, it's this close to being great, of where, we talked about hole 13. There was multiple people that threw it in the water or threw it like short of the OB. Why are they advancing all the way up for a 40-foot putt for par? Like, to me, like, if you make that mistake, you should get punished. And so that's where I think that the final hole, that would be incredible if it's like, you got to throw this thing in bounds. It could be your second throw, your third attempt, but it's got to go in bounds. And I hate it because everyone's going to tell me, you can't do that because there's too many bad people that will never get on. And it's like, gosh, it's like the best players are getting dominated by the worst players because they can't do it. So we can't make the course the way it should be made. And it's like, maybe if you can't throw it on the island after 3 times, you lose your tour card. Maybe that's what we should. You can't throw a 250-foot
You're
shot.
off the tour. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe that's what we need to start doing in the future. And so all these people that were worried about making courses better for the best players, but we aren't doing it for the worst players, you just lose your tour card. You can't play anymore. Go home. I'm sorry. All right, you've been great, Missy. Do you got any new pet peeves for us before we let you go?
Oh, shoot.
I know you're normally good with pet peeves.
I don't even know if I've shared this one yet. I don't remember. I only shared one with you guys a long time ago, but I think the one thing I think is funny is, like, I don't know. For me, when I throw my tee shot, I always know when I'm out. I mean, obviously there's some scenarios where you don't, but like, if you don't know that you're going to be the next to throw, then I'm surprised by that. And also just like walk at a normal pace, especially if you are out, just, get there.
Yes, Missy's on my slow walker pace, Uli. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I
have never heard you say that, so I'm not just like, riding that. Yeah.
I love that. Hey, take all the time you want at your disc. I'm fine with it. Just don't take forever to get to your disc.
And then take all the time.
And then take all your time. That's what, like, there's times where I'll throw a shot. I'm like, holy crap, I'm in a spot I've never thought I would be. I'm booking it off the tee because I'm trying to get there super fast so I can get a little bit more time to see what the heck I'm supposed to do. So yes, slow walkers, love that. Uli, I mean, at this point, I don't really know if Missy really wants anyone else's game, but go ahead, Uli.
No, we're not. It's not even.
Okay,
that.
it's not.
I want Missy's game at this point.
All right. Go, Uli. Yeah.
Oh no, I was just gonna say one of my favorite sayings is, "Take all the time you want, just don't take my time."
I love that. All right, before we let you go, how many majors are we wrapping up our career at? We're at 2 now. What are we finishing? What's the number?
This year or just my career?
No.
My career?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Give us
like
something.
I don't know. Like, what am I? 36. Let's do the math. Carry the one.
For some people, they would say that you're
25.
They would say you're retired. The idiots out there that think 36-year-olds can't play disc golf anymore.
I mean, I definitely feel it in my body, but I'm not giving up anything.
You're fine.
Soon.
You just want to make
I
it.
know.
You're fine.
I know. Yeah. Like what Uli said. 25.
25. Quarter, what is that? A quarter of a century. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, Missy, it's always fun having you on. Appreciate you taking the time, and good luck the rest of the season. I'm sure we'll.
Thank you, guys.
I'm sure we'll have you on again at some point.
I hope so. Yeah, I think you will. Thank you, guys.
Shout out some stuff real quick before you go. Shout out some stuff. What do you got for the people?
Yeah. Be on the lookout for maybe a little pre-release type Captain's Thrasher special thing going. Just keep a lookout for that. And yeah, just thank you guys. Thank the Discraft, they're amazing, and all my other sponsors, Grip and Whale Sacks and Ledgestone. Yeah, I'm doing this because you guys helped me do it. So I love what I'm doing. And yeah, anyway, thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Do you still have the Fox, or is it in a claw
I
machine
do.
somewhere?
No, I do. It's right here. He's right here.
Oh, you got the Fox. All right.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, Missy. Have a good one. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
All right. See ya. Missy Gannon, your 2-time major Champions Cup winner. Very nice. Mike, do we have any updates on Isaac? Or what's the
I
situation there?
texted his brother to get his number. I texted Isaac and I haven't gotten a response. I've also Instagrammed him, no response.
Oh, okay. He might be in
We might be
no
cooked.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, we might be
No
cooked.
Wi-Fi question mark. I'm just gonna hit him with that. We'll see. All right. If he does end up joining, that's fine. Mike, do you have his? I'm gonna put Mike with him in a group chat, just so if he does, if you can come on the pod, Mike will get you set up. All right. So there you go. If it happens, Mike, just give us a heads up.
Yeah.
If not, we'll get him on next week. All right. We got
in my eyeball, dude.
You got something in your eyeball.
My finger.
That's what you'll be saying after we play basketball, because I'm just gonna be shooting it in your eye.
Mind.
Be
Lost
shooting
your
in your
mind.
eye all night.
Lost it.
All right. Let's his phone's dead. Okay, fair enough. If he comes on, he comes on. He just came back from a hike. Okay, let's jump into this because before we go into the Kristin Tatar footfall, should we kind of go through the leaderboard a little bit with some of the other storylines before we go into that? Because obviously I think that's the biggest story, but I think this tournament had a lot of really interesting storylines that I definitely want to discuss a little bit. So let's go a little bit on the FPO side, right? Paige Pierce. I had a feeling that she would come out to this tournament. I think a lot of people were shocked with that pick. I know the Grip Lock guys were shocked with that pick. And at a certain point in time, Uli, I thought she was going to win.
Yeah, same.
I thought she had a chance to win the dang thing. I would not have predicted her winning the thing before this started, but I thought that she could do a top 5, and she finished 3rd place. So hats off to her. I think this course suits her game really well. I think she's able to throw shots off the tee that are comfortable for her. It's not crazy punishing off the tee. And her putt, her putt was phenomenal this week. Let's just say it like it is. She was making putts all over the place.
Yeah, I think moving forward, she's going to be a great pick if you want to pick them for your fantasy, because I think she's just going to – I don't think she's going to drop off. I think this gives her the confidence. It's not like she has a game that's so shaky that it's like, oh, this was a one-off thing. You know what I mean? I think once she finds something like this, great players, which she is a great player, all-timer, they're going to hold on to it. And so I feel like in the future, we're going to be seeing her well in the top 10. Because if you watching her play this week, she was in control of all her shots. She was making all the putts. It's like, why isn't she there all the time? Like, what happened in the past? Because this game travels to other places. She wasn't throwing crazy shots, long shots.
Shanking shots.
Exactly. Like, it just looked in control. And I don't know why I see her in 29th place sometimes. It doesn't make any sense to me, because that's vintage Paige Pierce as far as how the game looked to me.
I think it feels like there's a different mindset this year. Watching her play, it seemed like she was there for a purpose, and the purpose was to win and compete. And previous tournaments I've seen, it kind of feels like she's just out there to have fun. And it's like joking and all of that. And there was still some of that, but it felt like that was more secondary to the primary, which was playing good disc golf. And maybe she's got a better headspace now. Now she's, I don't know. We did try to get her on the podcast. Hopefully she will come on, because I think her career these last couple of years has been a very, very interesting one. And I would love to kind of hear from her where she's at. But watching her go toe to toe with Missy, with Kristin, with Silva, adding an extra person into the mix, that's all we've ever wanted, Uli. That's what we've been preaching. Is just give us another person in the mix. And unfortunately, speaking about someone that just completely removed themselves from the mix, what the heck happened to Silva, man? What the heck happened? Round 1, round 2, you watch her play, and I'm not seeing any missed shots. I'm not seeing any those approach shots where you get like a little loose with it and you leave yourself a 30-footer instead of a 20 or 15-footer. I'm not seeing any of that, Uli.
It's PTSD. That's what it is.
Is that what happens? Like once it started getting closer to the end of the tournament,
that's what's happening. Unfortunately,
in?
Because she has a resume for doing this. And it's going to take her getting over the hump and winning before this stops. I mean, that's what I think watching. We watch MCO just completely falls apart down the stretch.
Yeah.
Couple quick shots out of the bush to a bad spot. Mistake, just a little more time there. I mean, we saw at Green Mountain Championship, same thing. And then that starts to wear on you. Like, is this going to happen again? And that's not where your mind needs to go. It can't be, oh, here it comes. This is what I do. You know what I mean? You have to replace that with a really good memory. And she's so good. The only way to replace that with a good memory is winning, because that's the next step. And so until that happens, she's going to have a lot of pressure on herself. And I think she's too good not to win eventually. She's going to win by a bunch. I would rather see, for this to stop happening, I'd rather see like a down the stretch battle of her, winning by 1, making a good putt or something down the stretch. That's what I'd like to see as far as for the mental game, because if she wins by 7, she gets in another tight spot, those feelings could come back. But that's where I'm at with it.
I hope what you're saying is right. I hope she just gets nervous she has the thoughts of like, oh no, it's going to happen again. And she's trying to battle through them and she can't. I hope that's what it is, Uli, because watching her these past, like the final couple of days, and especially the final round, it just seems like almost like her, if you watch her round 1 and 2 and watch her round 3 and 4 and just watch her body language, watch how she handles herself. It is night and day.
I'll tell you something in sports. I study this stuff, man. It's not even a thought process. It's the way your body feels. Okay. So when you're going down the stretch and this stuff happens, you're trying to block it off and you're trying to trick yourself into being confident and saying the right things and doing the right things mentally. But when it's back there in the subconscious, what happens is your body shuts down. And you don't have control like you did before. And that drives you nuts. So then it's like more of a depressing feeling after that, to where you're like, oh no, like here it is. And I don't know how to control, what I typically do every single day. No problem. Now it's really hard. And that's the biggest problem in sports. And under pressure scenarios is your brain releases some sort of toxin that then makes your body feel different. And if you've done something your whole life and you're really great at something, and then all of a sudden now you don't feel the same, how are you going to do the thing that you do all the time and you don't feel the same? You're not going to. And so the trick is how do you make your brain not release that to protect, because it's really trying to protect yourself. It releases it because it's like, oh, we're not supposed to be doing this. This isn't right. Like I shouldn't feel scared, right? I shouldn't feel scared right now. And so it tries to protect you by doing like nerve calming things. But what that does is it messes with your sensation in your hands. For me, like particularly for myself, when I get under pressure, my shoulders get really tight and stuff feels heavy, if that makes sense. Yeah. And so, wait, I don't practice with heavy shoulders. This is crazy. You know what I mean? And so the only way you can replace those is with really good memories, or mentally be able to do it to get rid of it all. You know what I mean? To just be confident through the whole thing. So long spiel, but I get excited about that stuff because I think it's all fascinating.
So yeah, I think it's fascinating too. And coming from a team sport, and I'm talking about my ultimate Frisbee background here, I've got a personal story to myself and a story from someone else. So this one guy was a defender for us, really good defender. He would normally guard the other team's second to third best cutter. So he was a really good defender for us. And on offense, though, so we got the turnover and now we're on offense. As soon as he made one drop, Uli, as soon as that disc dropped one time, we knew for the rest of the game he was going to be checked out. It was over. He was not going to be able to catch another one. And it was just going to be he was going to be a mental head case. Now, he had that his entire career. He was never to get over it. And the thing with Silva is I don't know what she needs to do, but I know for me personally, there was a time my freshman year where I got laid out D'd underneath. For anyone that has played Ultimate Frisbee, you know what that is. It's the worst feeling in the world where you're running and you're wide open underneath and you see the disc coming and you slow down to catch it. And all of a sudden you just out of your peripheral see this guy, Superman, diving past you and blocks it. And you're just like stunned. When it happens to you for your first time, you're just like, what the heck just happened? And after that tournament, I made a point to grind and lock in, and every single week, I made a point to put in hours of running through the disc, sprinting and running through the disc to where I got super confident and super comfortable going through it, to where when I came into a game, that never happened again. I never let no one was ever going to lay out D me again like that. Now, what advice would you have? Because this is obviously not something that you can just replicate and say, I'm never this is something that she has to have pressure. So what do you think she can do in her practice to replicate this pressure to get
you can't
there's no way of doing it?
Practice it. No, that's the thing. You can practice as much as you want, but then when the best practice is, my advice if she was listening would be, when you get into the final round, quit thinking about anything and think about what you feel. Don't think about shots. Don't think about anything. Use that as a time to understand your body, understand, okay, this is what it feels like when I'm under pressure, and don't care about the results. Because the more you learn about that, the more then you understand, oh, this is the way I feel when I get like this. This is what I have to do different, right? And then you become more comfortable in that situation. What happens, I think, is actually lucky in sports. I think a lot of people get lucky. And hear me out. I think, let's take Macbeth, for example. Tremendous career all the way down the stretch. But when let's say his first world championship, I watched it. He got some really good breaks down the stretch and all of a sudden breezed through it and he won the tournament. And I watched another tournament after that, another major that he won, and he got a couple good breaks, but then he cashed it was a Beaver State fling before he won the world championship. He knocked down a 35-footer to win the Beaver State fling. And I always thought to myself, and I've read a lot of books on this, that some people just do it and they do it the first time and then it keeps going. Those guys become the GOATs, right? Because, Michael Jordan was a winner in college. He knocked down the shot to win the championship. That's what he did. And he got this persona about him, and then he started believing it, and then he turned into Michael Jordan. It starts somewhere. And when you have a persona where all of a sudden she has the time to close it down and somebody great like Kristin capitalizes and beats you. In individual sports, it's a lot different because you're going to have people do this thing. You're going to have a James Conrad all of a sudden throw in from 250 feet out of nowhere, out of your control type thing, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if that happens to Paul Macbeth, first time to win a world championships. Is he the same person?
Well,
you get what I mean? It's like debatable. And so you really have to, first of all, understand like, this isn't who I am. Believe it. That takes a lot of like time and like diligence on meditation or however you do it. I don't care how you do it, but there is ways to do it. And then understand the way that you feel under pressure. Understand, okay, this is what it feels like. I get it. It's going to be harder, but I put myself in this position every single week, which she does.
Mm-hmm.
And so don't care about winning for a couple tournaments, care about understanding, learning, and then it becomes really easy. That's what would be my advice. A lot, like I said, I get excited about that stuff. So
yeah, no, I love it too. And I do think the greats and everything they do, there is a side, just a little bit of maybe a sprinkle of arrogance. Because obviously you can be confident, but that sprinkle of arrogance. But the thing that sets them apart is when it doesn't go your way, when you don't end up winning, you're able to
compartmentalize.
Yep. Thank you. Big word. You're able to, after the fact, look at those things that, hey, this is why I didn't win. Not I didn't win because I'm never going to beat that person. I didn't win because that person's better than me. More, this is what I didn't do. And that's why they won. And then that's what you work on. That's what you grind in the offseason. That's what you really dig into. So that way it doesn't happen again. And so we'll see what happens. The choking side or the pressure side, that's obviously a lot harder because it's not like, oh, I was out of shape. I need to get in better shape. Oh, my circle one putting was terrible. I need to practice circle one putting. It's simply just like her whole game just falls apart. She looks like a completely different player. So hopefully she can figure it out because when she's playing good, oh man.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to happen anyway.
Just randomly.
She's going to figure it out. It's not, she's too good for it, not for her not to win. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not like all of a sudden she's just not going to be in contention and not win. It will happen. But in order to make it happen faster, you really have to focus on the things that you're obviously not that good at.
Yeah. All right, let's bring him in. The two-time Isaac Robinson back once again. It feels like literally not that long ago when we had you on after your first, and now you're sitting here with 4. How does that feel?
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Pretty crazy, man. It's pretty unreal. I don't even think it's quite sunk in, like 4 of them, but I'm liking it.
What's the difference between this one and the others? Does this one feel better, worse?
Yeah, where do you rank this one?
This one felt easy. I don't know. This one, it was weird. Like, I just knew going into the final round I was going to win, and it just felt strange. Like, I've never felt that before. Even, like, in previous wins where I've had a lead, it felt like hard to defend that lead, and it felt like it was anybody's game. But this one, I just was so confident going into the final round that it was just like not a surprise to win. I don't know. It's hard to describe the feeling, but this one obviously feels amazing. Yeah.
It's interesting.
We're gonna rank it 4th then.
It's interesting you say that.
Definitely 4th.
It's interesting that you say that though, because coming off the 3rd round, that was your worst round of the tournament. So where did the confidence come from?
That's a great question. I don't know. I think honestly, it could have been some of the lead card players, just because everybody there was new to that position. It felt like, obviously they're great players, but when you're playing with people who have never held a lead like that and taken down a tournament like that, you're kind of feeling like, okay, I can just beat these guys one round and I'm good. Was the scary card because you just never know what those guys are going to do. And so when I was watching scores and everybody just started real slow and the wind was tough, and so nobody was shooting hot. It just felt like mistakes, like any big, and the tournament's yours. And so that was kind of the mindset that confidence came a little bit.
How describe to me how big that putt was on 17. You had a putt that was maybe about the same distance, maybe a little bit further on 16. That would have been definitely nice to have that banked in as a birdie going into those last two holes. I think you clanked that one off the cage. Now you're going to 17. Marweed's got a putt closer than yours, and he's looking like arguably outside of Uli, probably the best putter inside the circle. Like, what's going on through your head right there? Because obviously we know you play fast, so it's not like, oh, I took a little bit more time. Like you didn't take more time. You did your same routine, but walking up to that putt, did you feel like that was the tournament right there?
Yeah, I knew if I made that tournament or made that putt, the tournament was pretty much over. I'd been playing 18 well all week, so I knew it was going to. And so I just really tried to block it out of my mind, like the importance of that putt. But after I made that putt, I was telling my wife, I was like, I think that's the best putt I've ever made. Like, for that situation and for what that meant to secure the fourth major, it was just such a neat feeling to be able to hit that under all of the pressure. Because, like, if I didn't make that putt, the chances of me making the putt on 18 are like real slim. We're staring at like a headwind, water behind the basket. This is for the win. And that's a whole different situation. So to hit that one, it just felt like I performed under the pressure and I really took the tournament down. Yeah,
no, for sure. And it felt like that was the moment right there too. Especially, like I said, coming off that 16 miss, you're like, oh my gosh, he has to make this one. 18, that's gonna be tough to play for birdie. All right, let's talk a little bit about something that is never a storyline. We talked about this a little bit on debate night, so make sure you guys check that out coming out on Thursday. But something we hear a lot is this guy's won so many times. When is he going to win a major? When is this guy going to win a major? When is he going to win a major? You're like on the other spectrum, which people don't really care. Like I personally don't care. If you finish your career with X amount of majors and not that other many wins, like I still think you go down as one of the best players ever, because I think majors should hold a lot more weight. But it is an interesting question of, you have won 4 majors in the last 3 years. The last time you won a non-major event was back in 2022 at Idlewild. So what the heck is going on with you at majors?
Dude, I don't know. I just wish I could win an Elite Series. I just want a normal
If I were you, I would never want to win one again. Just give me all the majors.
Like, is the preparation at all different or anything like that? Like, is there stuff going into it that's different?
I mean, you always prepare a little bit more.
We might have lost him. He's out. Where do you think he is right now, Uli? He's like in a log cabin in some sort of park, I think.
Yeah, he's in the woods.
He's living
deep in the woods.
He's deep in the woods. All right, I guess we'll never know why he somehow. I think he has the best winning percentage right now at majors. I think someone said he's like, what's his winning percent? It's something.
He's in Yosemite. That's right.
Oh, he's in Yosemite. Oh, that's actually a beautiful place.
Yeah,
it's a very nice place.
No, he's like, kind of like the
third best all time behind Paul and Kenny for major percent wins.
Oh,
that's wild.
Yeah, it is.
All right, we got our National Park Isaac over here, freaking turning into a forest ranger. All right, you're back. All right. So you're talking about how you want to win non-major events here and what you need to do that.
Yeah. No, I was talking about the difference of the preparation that goes into it, and it's really pretty much the same. But I think with majors, for me, there's a lot less pressure to score, because with a 3-round elite series, you have to come out of the gates firing. You can't make any mistakes. You have to play perfect. And if you make small mistakes, like, the tournament's over. Mm-hmm. You take one double bogey, tournament's over. And for majors, it gets in other people's heads, that this is a huge, important tournament. And then but if you can just play just consistently and not make any huge mistakes during the majors, but maybe you're not playing like lights out. We saw this last week where the whole lead card 3rd round played terrible,
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I was 1 stroke back. And so just getting out of the longer tournaments that are 4 or 5 rounds with maybe 1 mediocre round, you still have a chance to take it down. And so I think that's where the difference is for me, is because I will have that down round, but I'm always able to bounce back if I have time. Whereas the normal elite series, you don't really have that extra time to score and make up ground.
Well, I've always said that I think the majors are the easiest ones to win if you're good enough, because half the field because of the pressure is gone. I always found when I played good at like the world championships, I didn't even play good, I felt like. And then all of a sudden I was there because I didn't let, that pressure of whatever the tournament was cost me all those strokes. And then I'm like, well, I just kind of played okay and I'm here with these guys. But then down the stretch, you have to play good final round in order to take it down. And that's what you've been able to do, which is kind of fascinating over all these tournaments. It's not like there's been one round, the final round, where you just coasted in for the win. You played like dang near the hot round every single time to close it.
Yeah. But to touch on that, like, I don't even feel like I played well last week. Like, I played fine, but I averaged 1050, which is like, that's 4 points above my rating, whatever ratings mean. But like, still, it's like, usually to win a major, you have to average in the 1060s, I feel like. And so I feel like everybody, I don't know if it was just the ratings or what, but everybody just kind of let it get to the head or something.
I think what you said earlier was right. I think you won because no one was going to have 4 good rounds out the course. Now, if there was no wind, I think we're probably looking at a 40 plus under winner. I think someone shoots double digits all 4 rounds. But because of the wind, that made a lot of decision making. That made bad putts way worse. That made bad throws way worse. And I think you nailed it when you said that you just had 1 mediocre round and then you had 3 good rounds. I think not that many people had 3 good rounds with their mediocre round. I think they kind of had 2 mediocre rounds and then 2 good rounds. And you're one of the few people that were able to put together 3 good rounds. And then even your mediocre round wasn't bad. Like, there's some people that, not to call names out, but there were some people that were shooting closer to par on their mediocre round. And, you were able to still put 3 under down that round 3, which, you weren't out of the ball game and you had already played pretty good the first 2 rounds. So I think that was the big kicker, is like, and of course, like this, like with the wind, I don't think anyone was going to play incredible.
No.
Like, I think you ended up actually playing well. I think you played better than what you thought like average was. But what I'm saying by incredible, I don't think anyone was going to go out there and shoot 10 under, 11 under, 14 under, 12 under. And I think we're all like, I feel like we're always like, that's a good round, when in fact, like your second round, 9 under, like that's an incredible round. That's a great round, where maybe it doesn't feel like it because you're so used to shooting 12 or 14.
I think that's part of it too, Brodie, is the field thinks that. If you're out there, you're like, I got to shoot 10. I got to shoot. I got to push now. And then they do, and they shoot themselves out of the tournament.
Yes. 7 under every day would have won you this tournament. And I don't think people would have thought that going in. Yeah, you would have won. You would have won by 2. So I think you're right. I think we saw a lot of people press when they probably didn't have to.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that a little bit later with some of the people I'm talking about. But I think that's the detriment to these people playing courses that require you to go out there and shoot 14 under.
Yeah. The final round, I was caddying for Anthony. And my only advice to him was, I was like, we have to go bogey free. I'm like, if you go bogey free, you'll probably win the tournament. That's all you have to do. And so I pulled him off of a shot. He was looking at a shot on like the par 5 where he wanted to juice. He had hit the first
12.
tree, 12, and he was going to juice one under the trees. And I'm like, whoa. That, and I arranged it. It was 320 to the OB line. And he throws 320 in 1 second out of his hand. You know what I mean? So I knew the disc at some point would have probably been by the OB line. I'm like, no. Let's just go high. We'll take par. Bogey free's like your best friend today.
Yep.
And as the round kept going, the only thing I swear to myself that I was thinking is, I was like, Isaac knows that bogey free's powerful too. I literally thought that. I'm like, dang it, if there was anybody else on the lead card.
We needed a dark horse person.
Yeah, exactly, because he's just going to consistently get the pars and a couple birdies here and there. And that's exactly what you did. But what were you going to say, Brodie?
Well, I was going to say PDGA Mike, our producer, he just threw a very interesting comment, and I want to see how close you can get, Isaac. On your 4 majors, how much money have you brought in on your 4 majors alone?
Let's see. 16 this week, 30, 60.
Oh, sorry. Not in your 4. Sorry, not in 4 majors. Sorry, in all your majors. Sorry. Not just the 4 that. Not just the 4 that you won. All majors. Because I think there was another stat. Another stat has you. I think right now your average in major finishes is 5th place. 5th is your average, which is
pretty good.
It's pretty good.
I'll say like 105,000.
Close. 100 just over $123,000 in majors alone.
Dang.
Wow. Yeah, pretty good. Go buy yourself a nice little car. All right, another question I have for you. Let me see if I move back far enough. Okay. Tell me when to stop. I don't know if his thing cut off.
You froze.
Oh, okay, I was about to say. Oh my gosh. Am I back?
You froze as soon as you asked the question.
Okay. I'll ask the question. Okay, for a second, that was wild. I was like, what? All right, I'm gonna try again. All right. Here we go. Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
7? 8.
Yeah.
8?
What's the question?
Well, I started with 4.
Let's go 7.
I started with 4, and you see what I'm getting at here?
Okay. Is that how many majors?
How many majors do you want to win?
No, are you going to win? Are you going to win? How many are you going to win? Where do you get? You're at 4 in the last 3.
I'm gonna get at least 3 more. Wait, how many does Ricky have?
Real majors or like fairy tale majors?
I think he has 8. I think he has 8. So I want to be
Mickey Mouse majors is what we call them.
I want to get 3rd on that list there.
Okay.
So I think I need 8 or 9.
Because there's really no Mickey Mouse majors anymore.
No.
Right? Like European Open, when I first started playing, I was like, oh, I can fake acting like I'm a lot better than I am because I can just go out to the European Open and get like a top 20. And everyone's like, oh my God, bro, you got a top 20 in a major. When in fact, it's like it was a Mickey Mouse major. Like it was the easiest major ever to get a top 20. It might be a little bit easier than some of the other majors, but I think there's gonna be a lot of people at European Open and Worlds this year. So I don't think it being over there is just gonna all of a sudden make it super easy. And unfortunately for the rest of the field, Isaac, there's apparently not a course you can't win at. So put you in the woods, put you on a golf course. I don't think it really matters. So I think I think that's gone.
Isaac, do you think you're the best player in the world?
Me?
You play with Gannon all the time. And you.
No.
Do you think when you think of yourself, are you like, yeah, I'm the best player in the world?
No. I'm very, very good at executing shots when and where they need to be executed. But I don't think, I love playing with Anthony because it is mind-blowing how good he is. And the same with Gannon. They just have shots that I will never have. And so I love watching that. And so it's really hard to say, I'm the best player in the world when you see shots like that.
I didn't say most skilled because it's a scoring game. Are you the best player in the world? Are you the best disc golfer who plays tournaments in the world?
Plays tournaments.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay. How many more is it going to take? How many more world championships is it going to take?
After we win Worlds this year, maybe we'll talk.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is it about these other guys that you feel they got you by? Do you feel like if you play your best and AB plays his best and Gannon plays his best, you're finishing third at that tournament?
Probably. Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly. Yeah, I do think so.
They just have a little bit of a higher ceiling.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, when it takes 1.5 of my shots to get to one of Anthony's shots or one of Gannon's shots, I think that's the case.
All right. Well, before we let you go, I gotta. You got any more pet peeves for us? You got anything new cooking?
Yes. I think my biggest pet peeve of all time is when people use the porta potty.
Oh boy.
And don't lock the door. And so then you swing open the door because you see the green. And somebody's popping a squat on that.
Are these players or spectators?
Both.
Anyone. I hate it. I don't want to see that.
Who does that?
There was a period of time where it happened a lot to me, and I was like, "This is ridiculous."
It's happened to me too, and so I have to knock. Even if I see the green, I'm knocking.
Have I told you my toilet ultimate frisbee story, Isaac?
It's crazy that people don't do that.
Did you? Have I told you my ultimate frisbee toilet story?
We're on a standoff.
Third time. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna tell. I was asking you a question. I'm just gonna tell you the story, whether I've told it to you or not, because I think you'll like this one. So there's a tournament, the biggest tournament in ultimate frisbee as far as teams go, out in Vegas. We're playing at this big, huge soccer complex. They've got bathrooms, a couple of different spots of the course, but I mean, you have hundreds of teams there. So there's 3,000 plus people playing. And when you go into these bathrooms, the stalls don't have doors, Isaac.
Nope.
So you go urinal, stall with no door, stall with no door. And here's the thing, brother. When you're an ultimate frisbee player, one, you're probably eating not the greatest food, but you're running so much. And if you run a lot, that metabolism gets going and the nerves start happening and stuff. So that was the most awkward thing ever, because you're just sitting like this. And it's always the most awkward thing is when it's the person you're about to play against. So like an opponent comes in and turns and looks at you, and you're just like,
yeah,
I'm almost done. Give me a few minutes here.
Yep, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
It's not great.
Don't like that.
Yeah, that would not be yours. Same thing, Uli. I don't think we got I don't think your question applies here. This guy claims that he wants AB's power and he wants Gannon's whatever call it, his puffy chalk bag stuff. But this guy's won 4 majors the last 3 years. Heading over to European Open and Worlds. He's got to be your favorite.
Gotta be. No pressure
there, Isaac, but got to be his favorite. But I guess tell the people, where can they follow you if they're not following you on social media? You got anything cooking up? Clearly, Latitude's working for you. because you're throwing those discs pretty well. So what do you got for the people?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook, mostly Instagram. And then, the Peak just dropped, my new signature putter with Latitude. And then we have a couple things cooking up in the summer. Another signature disc that's a fairway driver, and a new signature bag as well. So keep an eye out for those. Should be dropping pretty soon.
Nice. Should your dad be worried? Did he get replaced this past weekend by the wifey?
Nope, my dad's flying out to Finland.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
Papa Robinson on the bag. Watch out, folks.
Oh, yeah. All it's going to be good.
Well, enjoy your time. You deserve it. Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats, buddy.
Four-time major champion Isaac Robinson joins Tour Life once again. Appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, guys.
All right, have a good one. All right, there you have it. I think he was just being nice to AB and Gannon.
I don't think he understands how good he is.
Maybe that is the case. I think he was
just out there like, oh yeah, well, this is the easiest one I've ever won. I didn't even play good. And,
he also said he didn't play good and he beat everyone.
He's like, the majors are the easiest ones. They all just kind of.
Would he won by 10 if he played well? I don't know what's going on.
Probably. I think if anybody, honestly, playing the course and seeing the score, this is crazy. Watching Macbeth shoot the 14 under, okay? And then second round, we get to hole 10. He taps in for 20 under par. Hole 10, second round. The next round, okay, we'll just scratch this round. The next round, he gets to the same hole, Brodie, round 3. Taps in for 20 under par on the same hole. The next round, gets to the same hole. I think he misses a putt to get to 21 under. So if Macbeth plays decent at all,
it would have been his to, I mean, it was his to lose after the first round.
It would have been just, because think about it. It was 26 under. So what does Macbeth have to do? 3 under, 3 under, 6 under to tie.
Yeah. And I mean, here's the thing too.
After going 14 under.
Here's the thing: is if we're looking, because we're gonna hop back to FPO, but since we're on Macbeth right now, I do want to dive into this just for a second. You look at that leaderboard, Andrew Miranda. I mean, kid's got a lot of talent, but like Isaac said, it's a different ball game when it's a major. So he's 3 shots back. Then you go down, Jesse Niemanen. Probably had a great round. He's 4 shots back. Still probably not worried. Where's our first contender? Adam Hammes. Adam Hammes, great player. Great player. Hasn't won a major, I don't believe, but great player. Has won big tournaments. So maybe a little worried, but he's 5 shots back. Andrew Marweed, still probably not too worried. Proctor at 8.
I'm worried about Proctor.
Gannon Burr at 8. So 7 shots. You're clear of the field by 6 shots of people that you already are starting to worry about.
Yeah.
I mean, it was his tournament to lose. But we'll get into a little bit more of that. Let's finish up FPO though. So we left off, we talked about Paige. Great tournament overall. Hopefully this is just like kind of the start of her. We talked about Silva. Holland Hanley kind of shot herself in the foot the first round. I don't know what happened. I don't know what I mean, she wasn't on coverage, so we weren't able to see it, but she shot even par when Silva shot 10 under. Yeah. So, I mean, it's so hard to fight back 10 strokes. But she did. I mean, she did fight back. It was just too little, too late. Finishing at 15 under, 12 back in 5th place. A course that I thought Evelina would have done a lot better at, Uli. Just because I think throwing.
It wasn't a big distance course.
Maybe I thought it was for FPL. Maybe it wasn't. Yeah, especially the last 2 days, like you said. A name we haven't talked about in a while in the pod, Anakin. I don't know why I say Anakin. Finally stepping back up. Good to see her in the leaderboard, top 10. Katrina Allen, I kind of had an idea that she was going to play well. 8th place finish for Katrina. Good finish. And then Kat Merch and Hanna, who we had on the podcast, finishing out the top 10. Emily Weatherman, I got to say too, showing a little bit of life here. We haven't really seen much of her getting 12th place. Good to see. And then kind of going down the leaderboard is kind of like your usual suspects. A little surprising finish maybe from Ella Hansen, finishing in 23rd. Probably would have liked to see a little bit better finish from her. But it looked like the course did kind of crush some people out there, Uli.
Yeah, it did.
It seemed like it did kind of crush some people. So that's pretty much wraps up FP. I don't think there's much else to talk about. Obviously, we'll get into Kristin's here in a second, but I do want to wrap up the leaderboard, just kind of going down the leaderboard here. So let's talk about AB a little bit. Let's talk about AB a little bit. Pars, both par fives, Uli, the final round.
Yeah.
That's Sunday or Monday quarterback coaching from the couch or whatever it's called. That's what I'm looking at. I'm circling those two as the dude throws farther than anyone on tour, and he pars both par fives.
Yeah, I mean, the first one he hit like the very first tree, and like I said, I kind of pulled him off of a crazy shot he wanted to throw, which I thought was just not worth it. And then on the other one, had like a circle's edge putt left, missed it, which everybody's missing putts. I'm not really too worried about that. I thought he played good enough to win, honestly. It takes a small mistake from Isaac, one small mistake through the whole round, and we have a playoff. So it really comes down to everybody's third round and second round, or it might even been his first round. He shot 5 under. Same conditions where Macbeth shot 14. So you can't be 9 strokes off the lead. You just can't. That's too far. So I would put the focus on that, because if you just look at raw score, 8 under final round, second card, and you look at who was on the lead card, you got to be able to just say, okay, yeah, I did good enough. Because in majors, and this is something I tried to tell him during the round, he missed like a putt. I'm like, it's fine. Everybody's going to miss a putt. You get one. We can't miss anymore. You get one, because once the pressure gets going, Isaac could have won by 10. He missed some putts down the stretch. He missed the putt on 16.
Yep.
That one he should have made. He ends up making the big clutch putt on 17, and that was a coin flip. That disc could have went out of bounds pretty easily. Caught a bad roll. He went deep, and then he knocks it down up the hill from 50, and that's just what major champions who have been there before, kind of do that. But if you look at the stretch Anthony had from he birdies 13,
final round.
Yeah, 13 the island hole.
Yep.
The next one in the win, 14. Tough. The next one in the win.
Tough.
The next one in the win. Extremely tough.
Very tough as the par 4.
Yep. Misses hole 17 and birdies 18. I mean, what are you going to do?
No, he played great, and I think what Isaac was saying, and Isaac wasn't giving himself enough credit, is Isaac only had one bad round. AB had 2. AB's first round at 5 when the course was playing super scoreable, right? Like the best scores were coming from that first round. And then his round 3, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bogeys. He had 5 bogeys, and round 3 shoots 2 under. So like he had 2 great rounds and 2 bad rounds. And it's like, you're not going to win. You're going to make it a lot harder for yourself to win when you have it like that. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get one eventually. Like you said, with Silva, like he's too good.
Yeah, he's too good.
Where he's going to continue to put himself in positions to win a major. He's going to eventually get one.
Right. I mean, but you can't put yourself on the second card. Like that
is tough. Yeah,
that's tough especially you can do that if you have a bunch of people who haven't done it. But when you got Isaac up there, you can replace Isaac with Ricky. You can replace Isaac with Paul. Even Paul, I would say, they get on that card. There's no pressure. They're going to dominate that card. That's going to be tough for a second card of any caliber. You put Gannon in that position, you get what I mean?
Yeah, like, Isaac was saying it. He said going into the final round, he felt 100%. Great because of the people he was playing
it's
around.
Obvious. Yeah, it's obvious.
Gary asked a good question. Who you got winning their first major first, AB or Silva?
That's a great question.
I'm going AB. I think AB's closer than Silva.
I think they win the same tournament.
Oh, wow.
I bet you they win the same tournament.
That's
because
a great one.
I don't see it as AB's not doing it the same way. He had that one time at the European Open where he unloaded the bag. But other than that, he's been like his second place at the World Championships was off of a 14 under final round, where Isaac won and had a commanding lead.
Yeah.
His other good major finishes are rarely on the lead card. You get what I mean? Like he's not on the lead card and then he loses. He's having those great rounds coming back. And I like him as a front runner. We saw him hold a big lead in Texas with Gannon chasing him down, which means he doesn't have the same problem as Silva.
He did the same thing at Florida.
Yep.
When he had Ricky.
Exactly. When he has the lead, he's proven that he can play with the best and shut it down. I just would love to see him with the lead. I think he learned a lot from the European Championships because the very next year he wins the first tournament of the year. He wins, 4 tournaments. So I would lean towards Anthony, but then Silva is just so good. She has the lead. It seems like for the past 3 weeks or something, 3 tournaments, she's been in the lead.
Yeah, she does. She probably is going to rattle off a bunch of top 5s too. So she's probably going to put herself in a lot of positions.
Yeah.
Shout out to Andrew Marwee too. This is a guy that, we all know his game. Super solid, great forehand player.
Gary,
this course.
I told you about this guy. You dropped him off the list.
This course was very forehand friendly, but also a phenomenal putter. Phenomenal putter in the wind as well. And someone that I maybe thought I thought he was going to kind of fall away, like not be a part of the thing. And during that final round, Uli, there was a moment where I was like, oh, well, he's out of it, right? Like he's not going to win. And then he sneaks himself back into where it's the final hole. It's wait a second. If he throws this in, he could potentially be in a 3-man playoff if Isaac bogeys. And obviously the putt on 17, that was tough. He makes that putt on 7. Yeah, he makes that putt on 17. And now, Isaac has to basically bogey and he's in that 3-man playoff type of thing. So that was tough to watch, but I think he played pretty solid. That was really, really solid play from him. He's a pretty even keel guy too. Doesn't really seem to get too upset when he plays. And he's got a game that carries, whether it's in the woods or out in the open. So someone to kind of keep it. He's playing good too this year.
Oh yeah.
I know you got on Gary.
5th. Yeah, that's his 3rd, 5th place finish, I think, on the season.
Yeah, we're gonna have
top 5. Sorry.
Since this is gonna be a long episode, we're gonna do King of the Hill next week. So that will be very interesting to see what Gary's got a full week to prepare for this one.
You better get it right. I'm coming for you.
Gannon just didn't have his A game.
Yeah, just very surprising, but
yep, just didn't have his A game. Adam played himself into the mix there. We kind of had an idea. He played so early before because I think the lead card was 2 or 3 holes behind.
Right.
So they had so many holes left when Adam was kind of finishing out that we kind of knew 21 wasn't going to be he was the leader in the clubhouse, but we had a feeling 21 just wasn't going to be good enough. But a great finish for him, moving up 14 spots the final day. A little disappointed with Rick here. I got to say it. Final round, he shoots 4 under. He ends up 5 back from the lead. So, 9 under is out there for him. So a little disappointing for Rick. What'd you see from Ricky, if anything, on Sunday?
I'm looking at it, and I think watching him play, I think he needs to get off to a fast start. I think if he gets off to the fast start, he's a guy who rides that momentum.
Yeah, he was even par on the front 9.
Yeah, and so you can't do that and expect to have a chance. And I think that's what we see typically. You got to get the first hole. That's a great start. If you birdie the first or the second hole just to get the rhythm going. And he just didn't do it.
We're going to have Sullivan on next week. So a lot to talk about him because, it was fun to watch him. He's also got a game that's really exciting to watch.
Oh, he's so fun to watch.
That forehand is a missile.
He looks really good throwing it. He makes a forehand actually look exciting, actually look like almost a back. I think it's the closest to a backhand we've ever seen with the forehand. He's got a little swag with it.
And then we got to figure out what's going on with Calvin here, Uli, because I mean, he clears the field by 3, was it? Yeah, he clears the field by 3 the final day. Shoots 3 better than anyone else the final day. Ends up moving up 24 spots into 8th, but he's just not in the picture.
Yeah,
and it's like, why is this guy not in the picture? He's so talented. What's going on there?
I think it's like the major. The longer you wait to get your first major, I think the longer you have to wait.
It's just tougher.
Because you got people who know how to win. It's a different thing. You know how to win them. Isaac snatched 4 of them when everybody was sleeping. You know what I mean? Like, you got to beat that guy. Think about that. You got to beat Isaac, who just throws the same shot every hole, makes all of his putts, doesn't never bogeys. And there's 20 of him.
Yeah, it's just like there's certain times that where you watch Calvin play and you're like, this guy is insane. And it's like, why is he not higher up on the leaderboard? So we'll see. We'll see with him. He's like an onion. You got to keep on what's the Shrek line?
And layers. There's different
layers. He's got layers to him, I guess. Yeah.
I think Calvin's the guy when he gets his first major, because I think he will. I think he's going to win by 10. I think that's how he gets it done. He runs away. He just runs away, and it's not even close.
Ezra, great tournament from Ezra Aderhold. Shoots 8 under the final round, moving up 11 spots, top 10. Great tournament from him. And I gotta give credit to the 2024 champion, Andrew Presnell.
Same.
Going from Northwood Black, wooded course, have to hit lines, have to be precise, to an open course, not really something that we would consider is like his repertoire, like something that he's eager to go out and play on a golf course. And the dude battled. He battled all week. I thought he defended well on a course that doesn't set up for him. I thought
top
he did
10 after a win last year. Nobody expected it. Yeah, hats off to Prez.
Yeah, great finish there from Prez, shooting 7 under the final day, moving up 6 spots to 8th. Benjamin Callaway probably would have liked to have a couple holes back that final round. He had a good section, 10 through 15. He shot 5 under through those 6 holes. So had a good section there, but like you said, just got off to a slow start. He shot 1 over on the front 9. And really everyone outside of Isaac,
he was my
pick.
I thought
really
if anybody besides Isaac came off the lead card, I thought it would be Ben.
Casey White still just playing super solid, consistent disc golf. Eagle with a nice finish there, top 15 for Eagle. We got Silas Austin Turner, who we thought was going to play well, ended up finishing 14th. Simon Lizotte, a little surprised Simon never really got in the mix at all. Not a single round. I was a little surprised by that. I mean, a respectable 14th place finish, but I thought he definitely would have gotten kind of a little bit in the mix there. And then obviously the big story here is Paul. He shoots 14 under the first round. He finishes the tournament 15 under. He shoots 1 under par the last 54 holes after shooting 14 under. And when I was watching, what it looked like to me was it looked like he was constantly playing for like perfection. He was constantly chasing that first round when, like what you said, he didn't have to play perfect the last 3 rounds and probably wins this thing running away. But it looked like he just wanted to like throw a shot perfectly, run putts when you're like, why are you running that? Going for shots when you're like, I don't think you need to go for that. And I don't know. I think I've seen at Northwood, I've seen him kind of choke or crumble or whatever you want to call it. I've seen it happen at Northwood, and now I've seen it at this course. And I think courses that require decision-making, that don't just require, hey, here's the shot, everyone has to try to execute it, who can do it the best. Ones where it's like, no, you can play this hole for a par. It's okay. Oh no, you can lay up and just take the easy birdie and not try to go for eagle. Like it seems like that is something that maybe I think that might be the weakest part of his game, is deciding when to go for shots and when not to go for shots, when to go for putts, when not to go for putts, because he could have played like his B- game the rest of the 3 rounds and probably won this tournament, Uli.
Yeah, I think so. But I also think that the 14 under, I think the field typically when the field sees a 14 under, 10s, 11s, and 12s come after it. And we didn't see that. And I think it was fool's gold for the field. You know, I think that's what actually crushed the field is the 14 under. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, now I got to get to that. And then when you're 2 under after the front 9, you're in panic mode. And then all of a sudden, you miss the island hole, you're even par, you're in panic mode. You're like, I'm even par, when really 2-3 under wasn't out of it.
No.
And I think it tricked the field. And I think it might've tricked him too, because he shoots that. You think, okay, if I just go 8s and 9s from here on out, I win the tournament. Well, you're 100% right. You win the tournament, but that was such a special round. If you watch the round, he made 430 foot worth of putts.
His putting was insane.
430 feet worth of putts. That's not going to happen every round. That's when you go, okay, now I'm going to just kind of play safe on the holes where they can really bite me. I'm going to play right. Like for that par 3, I'm going to play right with my Luna, get the par. I'm going to make sure to clear over here. He did catch a really bad break off of that, that stinking pole or whatever, going back into the water and having to go 400 foot back or whatever. But here's the thing with Paul, like I said, I think he got put into a place mentally where it was like, oh no, there's a score I need to shoot. It's a major championship. And he got caught chasing that score.
Yeah. I mean, I will say it was fun. I mean, the guy's a top 3 player still, I think right now this season.
Yeah.
Like I think he's still playing top 3 level disc golf. Maybe it's one of those things where you want it too much, right? Like there is some of that where you want to prove to people that you can still win.
He did catch, I believe he had to stay up until 7 a.m. final day. Something was up with they had like some family issues. I had to go to hospital. So that's what I heard. So that's not a very good break.
That's not fun.
That's not fun. No, going in the final round, only being a few back, he shoots an 8, a 9 under, and he ties for the lead.
Mm-hmm.
And he was off to a pretty good start, I believe, on the front 9.
Yeah, he shot 3 under on the front 9, which would get. You're saying the final day or what?
Yeah,
day?
Final day.
Yeah, he was 3 under through the front 9. That's fine. I think though, that put him at 20 under, which again is like very hard because it's like he got into 20 under multiple times that tournament. Yeah. So he's like, oh, I'm back. And yeah, he just pressed a lot.
Which is what you have to do. So you can't fault the guy for going for the big, the par 5. He goes for the eagle after he double bogeys the 1 hole.
11 was tough. Yeah.
But see that 11, I want to see the guys in contention not even care about that hole because the double bogey will come and bite you. And it did. That's where he lost the tournament right there. But then again, he goes out of bounds left. He has to run that to shoot 6 under on the back. It's not like he lays that up, takes a bogey, and you're in great position at 2 under par.
Yeah.
Like he's pressing. And so, like, of course, the tournament's over. I don't care. And I know he doesn't care getting top 10. He goes into the next one, tries to get the, birdie, doesn't. Goes OB on the island. It happens so fast. He goes double bogey, bogey, bogey. You're done.
This does show you, though, that the course, again, I think there are some flaws on some of the holes, but this does show you that courses, I think, are tending to go more and more to where, hey, if you are going to play aggressive and try to make a run and you're missing your shots, or you're missing your putts, you're going to be punished.
Cooked.
Where in the past, you really aren't that. You weren't that. Yeah, you weren't that punished. You're like, oh, okay, I threw it a little bad. I'll just take a birdie instead of an eagle. It's like, no, like you threw a bad shot. Guess what? You get a bogey now.
It's one of the best finishing stretches we have in this.
So some good stuff there. A couple other names. to shout out here. Nicholas Antala, not the greatest tournament from him. 21st. Would have liked to seen probably more out of him. Let's see here. Going
Shouldn't
down.
have taken that week off.
Shout out to Jake Mon throwing in on 18 for I think the only eagle of the tournament on 18. That was pretty electric. Finishing in 26th place. Let's see here. Gooseman finished. I think he was the only one to birdie the final 5 holes coming into the final day. That was insane finish.
He had some points coming too, and he blew it the final day.
I know. I thought we were going to see a top 10 finish from him. Yeah, he had he shot 5 over the final round. Not a great final round, but hey, again, he was 10 over at one point and finished 5 over with
crazy.
5 birdies on some of the hardest birdies on that course. So big shout out to him. And yeah, I mean, you're going to see also some big names. Like you said, there was 40 people. So, you know, we saw like Bradley Williams missed the cut. Luke Taylor missed the cut. Matty O missed the cut. Paul Kranz. Let's see who else jumps out. Kevin Jones, Gavin Rathbun. So yeah, you're just going to see a lot of people, you know, on a course like this, you don't have your A game. You're not playing well. You're going to miss the cut.
Yep.
Too many good players out there. So I don't know. Did we miss any storylines from MPO before we kind of go to the Kristin Tatar thing? I know there's going to be a long episode, but a lot of crap happened. And it's Masters or it's a major week, guys. So.
No, we're good. Let's move on.
All right. I want to hear your take first, Uli. Kristin Tatar starts making a comeback, starts putting a little pressure on Missy, and the foot fault heard around the world. A PDGA marshal comes in, calls it a foot fault. There's some discussion that's had. You're able to pick up on the mic that you can hear him say that he's not 100% because it's impossible to see when the disc releases from your hand and also when the disc moved on the ground. So you can hear him say he's not 100%. But the call ends up standing. What's your thoughts on the matter?
I think it's not as big of a deal if he just says, yeah, foot fault done. Don't want to discuss it. Saw your disc move. It's over. The fact that he said, yeah, I can't see both things, then doubles down and says, I'm 100% sure is mind-blowing to me. That's mind-blowing. I'm 100% sure. Then they slow it down, and he got the right call.
I think he initially said, I'm not 100% sure.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
Then doubles down and says, I'm 100% sure.
Gotcha.
Now, you slow it down, the naked eye is not going to catch that. It's impossible. If you slow it down to this, I've seen a couple slow-mos of it.
So we do have video of it, Mike, if you want to show it. I think this is the best angle.
Okay. Yeah, show it up.
I think this one's the best angle of it. Hold on. We missed it. Here we go. I mean, it is. Like you said, if you're watching it in normal speed, it's impossible to tell which came first. All right, we're good on that. Impossible to tell which came first.
It really is. And so I don't have a problem with the marshal calling something like that. The problem I have, and it's the right call. She foot faulted. That's the rule. It's fine. Take the stroke. I get all that. The problem is not being like, no, like I said, I'm 100% sure it happened. Saw the disc move. Sorry, that's the rules. I hate that earlier in the round, a bigger one was missed from Paige where the disc literally almost goes into the water. I hate that there's another one that I saw where another person on the card steps that wasn't Paige or Chris.
Well, we have Andrew Marweed.
We see Andrew Marweed doing
this. Is his final shot on hole 18. We can play that real quick so everyone can see. Final shot on hole 18. He steps on it. So that one is like there's not a question of whether or not what happened first. And to answer Edwin's question, if the disc is released your hand, you can kick your disc. You can do whatever you want with your disc. As long as your disc doesn't move or your marker, because if you mark your disc too, that's now the thing. As long as it doesn't move before you release the disc is the ruling.
So then this is what I'm going to say. It's the right call. Got it. That's the rule. This rule, kind of a hot take, does not protect the field anymore. It doesn't. It's actually biased towards the lead card. It's biased towards the people who are actually going to make the call and stand by the call, which is the official who's following the biggest card. So people on the second card don't have an official. And if they do, they do. But maybe somebody does it on the third. I know for a fact there's not a one on every single card. So there's people that are getting away with it. Rules are meant to protect the field. Okay? That's what it is. Rules are meant to make sure we're all going in one direction, right? This one, because of this, it's not the case. And here's why. Some rules are meant so that there's no advantage. There is no advantage here. Her kicking the disc 1 inch forward, she's not getting a 1 inch advantage. Okay? It's not happening. Andrew stepping on his disc didn't go into the water by 1 inch or safe by 1 inch. It's not an advantage. It happens because we're running up. Let me tell you this. Imagine if in golf, like you had to hit ball first. Otherwise, if you hit the ground first, it's a stroke penalty. Essentially, that's what I'm talking about, is we're running into a lie. We get a paper width. They expect us to throw it 500 feet, 400 feet, 700 feet, and they want us to be within this little tiny piece of paper. I get it. I understand it. There's no advantage from an inch or two.
Can I play devil's advocate?
Yeah.
Devil's advocate, because I think we both agree that if you are stepping a foot to the right or a foot to your left, that should be called.
Or a foot in front of your lie, which I've never seen.
Correct. That should be called, because a lot of times when you're stepping off to the side, you're trying to get a little bit more of an angle that makes your shot easier.
For sure.
My take on you saying there's no advantage, it brings me back to Ultimate Frisbee, because there was a rule called traveling in Ultimate Frisbee where it's the same thing kind of in basketball, where once you create a pivot foot, you have to maintain that pivot foot. So you can bounce your other leg, your opposite leg, back and forth, but that pivot foot has to stay on the ground. And some people, when they go and they throw, they will drag that pivot foot before they throw. And yes, some people, that will add an advantage because they're able to drag it and it allows them to throw it farther away from the defender, right? And so it's like, okay, well, that's an advantage. However, what if there was no defender on them, right? No one's marking them. They're by themselves and they go to throw and they drag the foot. Now, you could say in the same thing here, there's no advantage to that, right? Like, it didn't help them get around a defender. It didn't help them anything. My argument here, though, is if I'm Andrew Marweed and I know I can step on my disc and not get called, that now puts something in my head where I don't have to worry about my run-up. I don't have to worry about being precise. I don't have to – that's one less thing I have to worry about.
But he is, and that's why there's not – it is a rule, Brodie, and that's why there's no advantage.
But I'm saying
he already has that, and then he still steps on it, and he breaks the rule, and nobody calls him on it. Therefore, no advantage. The only advantage that the whole entire place gets is when there's an official on the card. Then it's an unfair advantage for it. It really is on the particular person, because how many foot faults have you called, Brodie? You played a lot of tournaments.
Well, I think the rule itself is bad. I'll put my hand up and say it's bad. I was just being devil's advocate and saying that there is a little bit of an advantage if you don't feel like anyone's going to call you on a foot fault. And so you're just like, I can just throw wherever and no one's going to call me. And it's the same thing as like saying someone that takes 35 seconds to putt instead of 29, there's no really advantage to that. And it's like, well, there is if you feel like you can take extra time without anyone calling you. And I agree with you. I think my big thing on this is a call that happens this rule infraction happens all the time. And it's not just it happens on random cards, Uli. It happens on league card all the time. And this is my big thing with the PDGA. Hey, PDGA, if you're going to make the call on Kristin, how is there not someone watching Andrew Marweed step on the disc? There was 4 people playing disc golf on the entire course. 4 people. How many marshals are there? How is there not a marshal looking at Andrew Marweed? That's to me, that's the crazy thing is I can see we don't have marshals on every card. So yeah, there are going to be people stepping on their disc and not getting called. But the thing is there was 4 people. There was 4 discs in play, Uli. There was 1 person in the entire tournament throwing when Andrew Marwood was throwing. And he steps on the disc. There was no, I don't know if he did. I don't know. And that's the crazy. I'm with you. We need to all play by the same rules.
100%.
And
I'm fine with the rule. I'm fine with the rule. It's a fine rule. It's just.
You can't even call it when there's 1 person throwing on the entire course.
He was behind a tree. What if the official's 8 feet away on the other side? You can't see.
You're in a bad spot. But and my last thing on this is PDGA. If you're listening because you apparently don't have Twitter, because I tried to reach out to you multiple times on Twitter and no one responded. If you're listening to this, listen to me. Get your grimy hands out of disc golf. All right? Because here's the thing. What you should be focusing on is pace of play, all right? Because it was atrocious. People come on here all the time and tell us how bad pace of play is, and you guys don't do anything about it. That's what you should be doing. Don't go on vacation and stand on league card and officiate league card for the final tournament. Walk around, get on a little scooter, because someone was on a little scooter. I saw them. They had a little Segway. Those were out there. Get on a scooter. Get on a golf cart. Do something and drive around and make sure pace of play is good. And then also, if there is a situation of where people are trying to figure out what's the right call, what's going on, step in, make a call. I've seen you do that. That's what you should do. But do not put yourself to where you make a call when you don't do that ever. And you don't do that on any other card. That's the thing is this isn't a precedent. This doesn't happen. I've watched a lot of disc golf. I've played a lot of disc golf. Uli, they don't come in and say that was your foot was on the ground during that step putt, Uli. That was a foot fault. They don't do that. The only time they come in and insert themselves is when a group is trying to make a call on something and they ask, or they're taking too much time and someone comes in. The fact that someone was there and was willing to make one of the hardest calls, literally the hardest calls to make, because your eye has to look up here and down here here we go. Yes, your eye has to look up here and all the way down here at the same time. That's why no one calls step putts when they're incorrect, because it's so hard to look at someone's foot and look at the disc at the same time. It's nearly impossible, Uli. And I'm fed up with it. I said last time, and maybe it's my fault. Hand up. Maybe it's my fault. I said, hey, the PGA's marshals, they're getting ready to go on their weekly vacation out on a major. And maybe that's my fault. Maybe they heard that and they're like, guys, we gotta insert ourselves. We can't let Brodie think we're going on vacation. We gotta do something. We can't just sit around and let Cupcake take a minute and a half. You know what? Let's write an article about why Cupcake is playing so slow. That will help. No, we got to insert ourselves at a time that makes absolutely no sense on a call that happened earlier in the round with Paige Pierce kicking her disc, like Uli said, almost in the water. No one called that. It's insane. PDGA, remove yourself. You don't care about these tournaments. You show up the day before, apparently, to just try to get all the accolades. You still have the freaking chains on the basket for the trophy. I don't know why you're doing that. It looks terrible. Stop doing that and just remove yourself. Gary, what do you have?
It's got a really hard time right now to be PDGA Mike. He must be seething over there. But no, I think one of the problems you see is a lot of people their opinions of this are just like, well, it's definitely a good call because it happened. But when you have to slow something down to a frame by frame rate, there's no way that a human eye is capable of catching that call. It's just not possible. And when you're an official coming down the stretch of any sporting event, I officiated high school travel soccer for 10 years. And there are many, many times when you get to that final 2 minutes and every single thing you do is scrutinized very heavily. I mean, you see sports now, like with the NBA, with like the 2-minute report and stuff like that. You have to own every decision you make. And unfortunately, in a lot of sports, there are rules that are book rules that are black and white. It happened this way. That's how it's called. And then there are rules that are very flexible and bendy. And the tough part with the stance rules are that they're written like black and white rules, but they're not applied like black and white rules. And so you have this weird area where people can't call them because you really can't see them properly. And then you combine that with the fact that most card mates aren't calling anything because of the discomfort that you have there. And we create these weird moments for ourselves where we have a marshal, which if you watch the round really closely, there are a lot of times when that guy's not in a position to even make a call. Sometimes on his phone, like it just
get him, Gary. Get him, Gary.
It seems so inconsistent. There was somebody I saw in one of the comment threads who was like, I was there in the crowd. I mean, obviously this isn't not a confirmed source, but they're like, that person was not engaging with the shots the whole round up to that point, and all of a sudden changed the behavior of themselves. And like that's another thing as an official, like you've got to be careful that if you're creating a standard during a round, you've got to be able to keep that standard going to the fairness of the rest of the competition. Mm-hmm. It's so weird to me that the PDGA comes out very clearly and says we can't include video evidence, which part of that is because we can't do it fairly because not everyone's being videotaped. Yep. But we can do the same thing by applying a marshal on only 1 or 2 cards. So you're creating a rule and you're dying by the same kind of standard you're creating for yourself. It's a tough thing across the board, but even though technically, yes, the frame showed that the disc came out of her hand too late by 1 frame. As an official on the course, based upon the way the entire event was called up to that point, unless you can 100% say matter-of-factly that you know that it happened, you can't make that call. And to Uli's point, and I've been in this position before, like when I've made calls, sometimes you got to eat it. If you make that call, eat it. Don't sit there and try to explain it that, to this person, this, that, or whatever. You've got to just eat it. That's the call. I saw it, done. Yeah.
Because then you open yourself for scrutiny. You make the call, the call's over. No, I'm 100% sure. Mm-hmm. I'm 100% sure. That's it. You don't have to explain yourself, nothing. You're the official. Nope. Saw you hit the disc. That's the way I'm calling it. It's over. He makes the call. He's an official. Guess what? This isn't a new thing in sports. There's plenty of officials out there who make calls and absolutely get bombarded. So if you're feeling depressed or whatever, who cares?
Well, here's the thing, Uli, that's different.
It is different.
When me and you are going into a football game, when me and you are going into a basketball game, we have all signed the paper that doesn't exist. But in our head, we've all signed the paper that bad calls are going to be made. I'm going to get fouled.
He made a good call.
Okay, but what I'm saying is we all go in with the idea that bad calls are going to be made, calls are going to be missed. We all go into that, but you know what? It's going to wash itself out throughout the season because there's going to be so many of them. The thing with this is the only other time, Uli, that I can think of someone making a call, like a PDGA stepping in and making a call, was the Nico call back at European Open, and that was a time violation.
I mean, Robert Leonard made a call on my car, or not on my card, when I was caddying for AB with Eagle. That was very
what was it?
What was tough? He missed the Mando on 16, and everybody's like, "Well, he hit the branch on the other side, and it was like straight down." And he's like, "No, this is what happened. Boom, game over." Stood by it, ended it.
But the difference with that is you guys were kind of questioning what was happening, and then he stepped in and made a call. No one was questioning whether or not this was a football. I think that's the big difference. There's a massive difference between players questioning what happened and a PGA official coming in when no one's questioning it.
Yeah.
and inserting themselves, because that doesn't happen.
And that's my point. And that's my point exactly. I'm fine with the call. Great call. Who cares? That's what happened. She did it. She broke the rule. She gets a penalty stroke. Fine with it. Don't care about that at all. The point of it is nobody else is getting called like that because he's not on the other card.
Yep.
He's not focused on other people's footing. He just so happens to be in the right place to catch the right call on this one. Kudos. You're in the right spot. You make the right call. That's what I want to get across to the people listening is we can't condemn this guy because he actually did it. What we can do is condemn what it is, which is a bad rule across the board.
I can condemn a little bit, though, if Gary's telling me that this guy's not paying attention to every shot and he's only paying attention to some shots. You
can't pay attention to every shot. On every,
I'm
hole.
saying no.
I hear what you're saying.
Gary said, not again, we don't know from a source.
Yeah, so I can't listen to a different source of
all I'm saying is
I can't say that a spectator's telling me, hey, yeah, he was on his phone once and missed it
This guy's not paying attention.
Obviously, he missed the page call. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. I'm saying it's bad.
Well, I don't know if he was on the card at that point. Some people are claiming that he was on the card for some holes.
See, so how do I know that?
I know. I'm just saying.
The guy makes the call. What I do know, Brodie, is he makes the right call. End of story. I think that should be.
That's fine. That's fine.
The focus needs to be, okay, we have to have an official on every single card. Otherwise, for sure, without a doubt, it is a biased opinion for the lead cards getting penalized across the board for them getting called on it and not before. And Gannon plays on different cards. Typically, it's a featured card. But guess what? The only times I've seen him get called was by an official on the lead card.
Yep.
Slow play right there. Bang. That's the only time I've ever seen it. You know, the only time I've ever seen multiple people get stroked in the last 2 years was because they didn't sign up or get to the T-pad in time. The dumbest rule in the history of the world to stroke.
I don't think it's a dumb rule. I'm on record. It's not a dumb rule. I'll stay on record.
I don't think it costs 2 strokes.
You should be fined, but we can't fine people because then they'll literally live under.
So we're going to cost everybody 2 shots.
I don't know
for being a second late.
I guess you kind of are fining people by costing them 2 strokes in a way.
Yeah. Okay, so I can go kick my disc to the left, throw from there, get a 2-stroke penalty, and it's the same.
Maybe you have to buy the TD a Coke or something.
And it's the same as me showing up a second late. Give me a break.
The big thing for me is it's a major. There's time. This event was planned. We're talking about how they put 20 grand into building a stage for hole 1. They're doing all this stuff. How hard would it have been to get 20 volunteers and say, hey, we're going to put you through some martial training and we're going to have you go out with each card. I would actually not do that. I would do per hole. Yeah. Because the thing is when you have, because here's the whole thing.
We don't need them. Don't need them. There's not there's not a crazy thing that's happening in the world where everybody's cheating on purpose.
That's one. But
it's not happening.
We've all played pickup basketball, right? And fouls happen that just don't get called in pickup basketball. And then as soon as someone drives the lane and gets soft fouled, what happens?
Changes the whole thing.
Oh, we're calling that now. Okay. And now it changes because now that person's set to where it changes. And I think with the foot faults that happen in disc golf, me, Uli, everyone, we all agree that it's nearly impossible to call. And so unless it's egregious, unless it's absolutely terrible, no one ever calls it. It's kind of like an unwritten rule of where we see it happen, but you know what? They slid into it. They slipped. I'm not going to call someone slipping into their disc. It doesn't get called. And so that's the big thing here is, and the 18th hour, all of a sudden the rules have changed to where now it's being called. And it's just not fair because it wasn't called the entire tournament. But now all of a sudden it is.
We don't need the officials. That's what I'm saying.
That's why I said get the PDGA out of here, Uli. Trust me.
I think in a perfect world, if you're going to have marshals, they really should only be responsible for pace of play, like you said, Brodie, and maybe the safety of the players or general movement overall like that. And you should let the
50-50 split, they make the decision.
Yeah, or if it's something like, hey, we went into the water over here. Like, do we go to the drop zone? It's like stuff like that. Like questions where it's like, we don't know what the right way of playing it is. Can you come in and tell us?
Or if it's just 1 against 3. If I'm in a situation where I know what happened and I got 3 people telling me something different and I'm like, no, I'm not moving. Like this is bull. That's when you need somebody to come over and be like, well, no, I have to go with the players, or I tell my story and then, you know what I mean? They kind of delegate the situation or so. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there should be like 4 marshals and they should be all separate because again, like why do we have multiple marshals that can make calls on the same card? That makes no sense. They should be all separate and they should be roaming. They should be constantly roaming. And if they're doing that, they should be able to get to every card within 30 seconds to 45 seconds on their little segues that we'll pay for coming out of our PDGA budgets or whatever. And everything will be fine. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about Kristin's post because usually Kristin normally kind of like doesn't really, I don't know what the right term is, but she normally like kind of leaves it in a way of where it's kind of like we don't really know how she feels about it. Because if you remember a couple of years back, they told her that her daughter couldn't be with her at Champions Cup, right? And she normally does a good job of when like bad things happen to her, kind of taking the high road. But I love this post from her. She starts off saying, not the first time I found myself at Champions Cup in a controversial situation involving the PDGA. 3 years ago, I was told mid-round that my daughter couldn't walk with me, even though she'd been there from the start. Again, changing rules in the 18th hour a la PDGA. This time, for the first time in my career, a marshal made a foot fault call independently without any input or complaint from my car mates. I understand that the marshals are doing their job and trying to ensure fair play, which I truly respect, but consistency matters. If you apply rules like this, they should be applied equally to everyone on every card at all times. Of course, I would never want to gain an advantage unfairly, but the situation was strange. When I was asked the marshal if he was 100% sure the disc was still in my hand when it moved, his answer was that he couldn't focus on 2 things at once and couldn't see, but he is still 100% comfortable giving me a penalty stroke, which is funny and sad at the same time. But above this response was concern. I just love when you have like someone that's like English isn't their first language, because the way they say certain things, I just think it's like so to the point. I freaking love it. But above all, this response was concerning to me because it seemed to reflect a misunderstanding of the rule. You do have to see both things, which is frustrating when such significant decisions are being made alone. No previous foot faults had been called in the round, and the timing felt unfortunate, just as I had gained momentum and was getting back into contention. She doesn't go on taking full responsibility, saying that it did distract her and caused obviously a lack in maybe some focus down the stretch, but. Again, it's the PDGA. They really almost went an entire tournament without like us really making. I mean, obviously at the beginning it wasn't great hearing that they weren't super involved with this tournament, but they almost went the whole tournament without like us really having anything to say, other than the trophy is still terrible and why do we have chains on it? Stop doing that. Because I don't think the Fox was them. I think the Fox was the TD and locals. And, say what you want about the Fox, but, and then this happens and it's like, wow, okay. PDGA, good for you.
I think we need officials. I think you're right. They need to be delegated in the proper way to where we know what they're there for and what they're not there for. Because if you get surprised like this down the stretch and all of a sudden you're trying to win a major and you get caught with a foot fault where a few holes earlier, somebody else foot faulted, they didn't get it. Like calls happen, missed calls happen. I get it, but that needs to be, they give us so much leeway through the whole tournament with wherever you're playing by you being officiated by your card. And now all of a sudden you're getting officiated by somebody who's just one-off watching different things. That's not fair play, man. It's not fair play, because if it was, then every person in the whole entire tournament would be hawk-eyed by an official.
This is the same kind of argument here, Uli. Imagine at women's, what do they call it? Throw pink, Holland Hanley, hole 18. Imagine she releases the disc and throws it, and they all start running, like start walking up there, and the official's like, "Where are you guys going? That never crossed in bounds." Like, even though that would have been the right call, Uli, that would have been wild for it to be like, wait, what? Because like they don't make those calls.
Yeah.
They don't ever do that. They don't ever insert themselves into that. And so it's like, here's the problem now. And they are called Double Down PDGA for a reason. Shout out to PDGA Mike.
Oh, there's gonna be more. There's gonna be more calls coming.
Like,
we know that's what's gonna happen.
That's what they have to do now. They have to be like, we are now going to call.
Otherwise, it doesn't. Otherwise, this doesn't count.
Right. Like,
and I think there's something to be said about. I think there's something to be said about like, there's good officials and there's bad officials, and I think people who have played before, who have played in high intense competitions, understand. Okay, this isn't a time for me to do this. You know, I'll let the players kind of, you let the players play in the NBA championships in the finals. Down the stretch, there's going to be some ticky-tack fouls that aren't going to be called. You know why?
Because everyone knows that. That's the thing. Is all the players know that that's what's going to happen. Yeah. It's like and that's what this is. The biggest thing is no one thought that this would ever happen, and it did. Right. Yeah. So, all right, we're gonna keep Gary on because I want to talk a little commentary coming from one of the best commentators we have in disc golf, Uli over here. So let's talk a little bit about it. And guys, here's the thing. I'll start us off. I think I have figured out why people are not a fan of Ian Anderson as a commentator. Okay.
Took you this long.
Well, I think I finally nailed it down. And I think a lot of people are incorrect in why they don't like him as a commentator. And I think it's not his fault. I'm going to throw it out there. I think it's not his fault. He does not either have a producer or have a good producer, because what Ian Anderson does is he is the producer. The stuff that should be going into his ear that only he hears, or only Nate, who's on the course, hears. And we never hear that. Doesn't happen. Ian does it. Ian is commentating, but also producing. He's telling people what to do. He's telling people what to say, or he's asking questions all the time. He doesn't really know. And it just completely messes up the flow. Instead of me going, hey, Uli, I think you're down on the course right now. Like, what do you see? What do you see out there? What's happening? Right? Instead of me doing that, the producer should go into my ear and say, Ian, shut up. Don't say anything. Hey, Nate, you're on. Talk about the shot coming up. And then all of a sudden it goes from Ian being like, all right, hole 13, we have Andrew Marweed throwing his second shot. And then it just flows right into Nate. It doesn't have him producing the show. He's live producing the show, and we're all hearing it, and it's awful. It's literally terrible. It's awful. We don't want to hear that crap.
I think he's a familiar voice, and I think people like that.
I was going to say that's one thing. I think it's important if we're going to like highlight a difficulty with someone that we also appreciate something that's good about them. And one of the things that most people,
Gary, all right, Gary.
One of the things that
always
most
have to be nice around.
One of the things that most people who I think are fans of disc golf have experienced is one of their first introductions to disc golf on the internet was a Central Coast video.
For sure,
they
were the boss back in the day.
Yeah, they saw the starter pack challenge or the champs versus chumps.
Camps, yep.
Yeah, and so like in a way, Ian feels super familiar, and I think one of the things that I appreciate about him, and I'm very critical of him behind the mic. I think he fills dead space by feeling like he needs to talk a lot, which can be difficult to listen to sometimes. But I like at least that he has this almost like fan-like fanaticism with disc golf. He's excited to talk about disc golf. It's just sometimes I think it's that nervous energy that makes him talk way too much when he's in the booth. And I think having a producer to keep him quiet.
Yeah. A producer says, hey, Ian, I know you're about to say something right now. Don't.
Stop.
Just don't say anything. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I that's where it's like, I think a lot of people fault him, but ultimately I think it's behind the scenes. I think behind the scenes bad. And here's the thing too, like, I mean, there's sometimes we don't have that many cameras out there, Uli. There's really not. We don't have 45 different camera angles. We don't have a bunch of different segments that we have to play. I mean, it's the same 4 commercials that we watch every 5 minutes, right? So it's really not that much going on. Like, we should never really be cutting to a camera that's like filming the sky or is like filming the ground. Like, there's just stuff like that you can tell that whatever's happening behind the scenes, I don't know if it's gonna cut it. And I mean, I'm not coming from anyone's job because I don't know who's doing it, but I hope the Disc Golf Pro Tour is looking into. I hope that they're looking into it because I think it could be a better product. Like, first thing, hey, when a shot happens, don't cut. Let it fly out. Also, what producers can do is, hey, we're gonna come to you. Get ready with this shot. They should be telling the camera people what shot they want. They should also be lining people up. There's certain times, Uli, where I saw during live, someone had a shot on someone, and they stayed with them as they were running over to the next person. It's like, is there not another camera angle that's just like on that person that you can cut to so you don't see the person like running over? It's small stuff, but it is stuff that really all of a sudden, like, it makes you kind of jump out of being immersed in the watching. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is anyone's other takes?
I think it was a weird, like, chaotic energy because with a course like this, it's so important to provide context to people with what they're seeing and where they're watching, especially because you have holes that have big rollers. I think rollers like sky shots are some of the most chaotic calls to make because you have to have an understanding of where that disc is located because it's an odd angle. One of the best moments of commentary from this weekend was it was a Niklas's roller on 5 in the first round. And there's a kind of a moment of silence and it comes out of his hand. And all we hear from Nate Sexton, who I love his commentary, he just says, "That's aggressive." So he's provided me context of knowing that's an aggressive shot. More moments of silence. And he's like, that just needs to stay out of the bushes as it rounds the corner. So now I have an expectation as it's moving to look out for something. More silence. The disc comes to rest. And he immediately follows it up with, that's going to be an okay position. He's still probably about 400 feet out. He's going to have to do this. And so like that microcosm of a moment is great commentary because it understood what I needed to know, gave it to me very quickly, left room for me to enjoy the shot itself, and demonstrated where it was at in the course. But there were too many times when you have the chaotic energy of Ian needing to fill space and Doss, who I appreciate his perspective a lot, but I think he likes to sensationalize every moment as being the most important moment of the day. And so you have all of that kind of flowing at once, which it's just tough. Yeah. Especially when you need to know where people are at on the course.
Well, it wasn't good too that like his favorite player, Paul Macbeth, is like leading the tournament. So now you're just getting all of this like, and I get it. It's tough to be unbiased with certain people, but there was a lot
that
of
happens in golf too with Tiger.
No, it does. It does. Well, yeah, it does in a way.
Sure.
For sure. It is tough to get that out, but I think it just adds to the other thing. Commentary is not easy. I'll say that. I think they are still kind of backwards, Uli. Like they're not utilizing the guy on the ground enough. They're like asking him questions after the fact.
You're right about that for sure. And on live, especially, like there should be multiple times where you go to him and paint a picture of the lie, paint a picture of the wind really quick and the obstacle that he had, how far he has to throw it. Cause that's the biggest thing for me. And I explained this like a couple weeks ago, I think the viewer has no clue I know the viewer doesn't have any clue of the skill of the player, their strengths, how far they throw it, where the turns are. And that's what's the most important thing about a shot, right? Like me compared to Anthony Barilla throwing through a gap, two completely different things, two completely different skills. My disc is getting there slower, which means my disc has more time to hit the gap and then create an angle after the gap. His gets through there at such a pace typically that then there's a 50-foot gap to where then his has to turn, right? Like there was a shot on, I think it was hole 4, the par 3, to where I think it was Anthony threw the gap and it looked like it just buried to the right side. But to me, that's the correct shot. It looks like a horrible shot, But for somebody like him, he has to get it through there and then get to the ground, because if his flies any farther or it has any more airspace to fly, it's going past the basket because he throws so far. For me, if I throw the same exact shot, I need flight after I get through the gap to then make its way into the circle. And that's something that the viewer doesn't understand. And it's a hard thing to like get across, you know, because it looks, oh, he just buried that into the ground. What a horrible shot. No, that's a skill. You know, that's exactly what he's trying to do there. And that's like those little intricacies about every single person's game. I'm lucky because I play with all of them. So I know, you know, I know the difference between distances and things like that. But it's still hard for me to even say it on, because then I'm ingrained in like whatever somebody else is saying. And then I lose a moment to explain something. So it's difficult. It really is.
I'll pull Gary here too and give them actually some praise after giving them some.
Oh, wow.
And I will
turn it up. Everybody turn it up.
I did like the segment of them bringing on the course designer, which I believe his name is Leonard. I'm make sure, hopefully I get that right. I thought that was great. I thought they brought him into the booth. He was kind of discussing why certain holes were the way they were. And I think he also was doing a great job of explaining different shots that you could take off the hole at certain holes. And I love that. I thought that was great. So hats off to them bringing him in, because I thought he actually added a lot. I think maybe if you bring some other course designers, it might not be that well. Like, he's well-spoken and he knows this course like the back of his hand. So I actually did enjoy that part where he came on the coverage for a little bit.
I think another one is like the way Calvin throws. Like, he uses the ground a lot. So it looks like he's turfing a lot of shots, but he doesn't have, in my opinion, it doesn't have the best speed control. He has 3 discs that he throws with. He throws Destroyer, for fairway shots. He throws his Eagle, and then he throws his mid-range. And so he's throwing Eagle on some of the shots that a lot of people would think, oh, that's going. He's throwing it on 350 shots, 400 shots, and 450 shots. He's just using his height to
chuck it in the ground.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I watch a lot of coverage too, and I don't think people pick up on that stuff.
Yeah, it's just good stuff to have on certain holes, saying like, hey, if he misses his landing zone here, he's going to be short 50, 60. Good stuff, that just little snippets before you throw. Let's discuss the course real quick before we go into our final listener questions here. I think this course really needed the wind. I think players would have eaten this course up, which I don't know if that was the intention or not, but I think the reason why we got such a good finish was because the wind caused a shrinking of where I think at one point there was like 7 or 8 people all at like 20 under or something within a couple shots of the lead. It was crazy. I mean, Adam was leading the tournament, Uli, and we didn't see a single shot of his for like 30 minutes because there was just so much going on. There was so much happening, which really made for an awesome tournament to view. But I think the course really did get bailed out because of the wind. And I think you could see certain shots, the risk reward shots were awesome on some of the holes, like the par 5 hole 12. I think that was great. Like Uli, you were right there. People were wondering, is AB going to go for it there? Is he not? He ended up laying up. We saw Paul make the decision to go for it. Like, there was a lot of on that hole specifically, how you're going to play it. But I will say this: we got to get rid of these drop zone putts. These drop zone putts.
I hate them.
These drop zone putts, I don't know why we still have them. The fact that I think it was hole 13, the island hole for us, the par 3, the fact that people weren't even throwing their shot in bounds, like they were landing 10 feet short in the water and they were able just to advance to a putt, like at least make it to where if you don't cross in bounds, you have to go to a drop zone and throw. And if you want to make like normal OB rules, which I don't love, I think you should, if you throw OB, you should just go to the drop zone. But like the fact that we still have holes where players don't have to throw a single good shot, Uli, and can still walk away with par or bogey is crazy to me.
Oh,
You
can
could
go
just
back
throw terrible shots.
To after we played O2B last year, and I said the same thing, same hole. I'm like, this
Yeah.
drop zone putt is ridiculous. It's silly. It really is. I don't get it. I don't like the design. I missed the thing twice. I missed the island twice. Made the putt once. How am I taking a par on this to where another guy throws a and I was short, never going inbound.
Yeah.
And I'm making a better score than somebody who actually barely skipped out deep. You know what I mean? Like 8 times better of a shot than mine. And I get a better score.
You can see it in the stats too, because there were 18 total OB strokes made on hole 13 for the final round, but only 8 people bogeyed it. And there was only 1 double bogey. So that tells you how many people hit that putt from the drop zone, which just shows you that it really wasn't a consequential thing at all to go OB.
Yeah, and you're just limiting to like the drama of being like, if I don't throw this thing in bounds, I have 100%. To go to a drop zone. That's also another shot. The other thing that they need to do away with is they need to add drop zones to holes with OB around the basket. For example, we talked about this a little bit with Missy. Like, I didn't like the fact that if you go OB right on hole 18, you have a tap in par. You go OB on hole 11, that par 3, you throw it 40 feet long in the water on hole 11, you have a tap in par. Like, we're still not punishing people enough, because like hole 11, that's a hard hole to birdie, Uli. That is a hard hole to birdie.
Very.
And so someone that throws the correct shot, which is short right, and they have a 35-footer, which is a scary putt, and they give it a soft bid, they should not get the same score as someone that had no speed control and is skipping 30 feet in the water, and they're just tapping in their par. Like, those are the holes that need the drop zone. You go OB, you got to go to like a 250-foot difficult, touchy upshot and make them have to at least complete a throw. I hate the OB I love the OB that's around the basket. I hate when people can just throw terrible shots and they can just walk up and tap in a par. I hate that. Or stroke and distance, dark horse. Let's just make it tough. Throw OB, got
stroke. I want stroke and distance on every old deal.
Gosh, I would love that.
Could you imagine missing the island on 18 and having to walk back to a drop zone at the front of the water on the other side?
So scary.
You should right there.
Also, Ruthie46 wants to let us know that drop zone putts are fun to watch. Ruthie, go watch some paint dry, brother.
They're fun to watch, yeah. But I mean, imagine watching somebody then miss the island again, then have to throw it to 40 feet and then have the same exact putt, but now it's for double bogey.
No, I don't actually think it is fun to watch. I think the very, very few people think that's fun to watch. It's maybe fun to watch because it's all you know. Maybe that's what it is. Like, to me, like, what do we think when European Open has said, hey, hole 16, we're not going to do this bunker rule anymore? We were all like, oh, that sucks. That sucks. The drop zone on that hole sucks too. Like, when you actually see what it is before they add a drop zone putt, you realize, oh, wait, drop zone putts actually suck. These aren't good. There's Maple Hill hole 8.
14.
Yeah. Imagine Maple Hill hole 8. You go OB, guess what? You have to go to a 300-foot shot. That's scary. What?
How else would you get mistaken as a Boy Scout? So
that is true. All right, Gary, appreciate you, brother. Thanks so much.
Guys.
And hey, no pressure. King of the Hill next week. No pressure.
I'm not scared.
Uli's not going to let you off the hook, brother.
I'm not worried about it.
The 2 people I said all of a sudden back up here. I said, don't drop in Marweed. Oh, what did he do? I'll see you next week, buddy.
All right, Gary.
Yep.
All right, let's run through Pick'em real quick, Uli. I mean, it's no surprise. We're back, baby. We're back. And really could have been really, really dangerous because Eagle and Aaron were both in the top 10 at a certain point where I thought we were going to do another 6 for 6.
Yeah.
But we got kind of lucky because Paul and Ricky were a little scary there at the beginning and Gannon was nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
But Gannon found his legs, got us a top 5. Paul ended up getting no points for them, which is crazy after leading the tournament. They were probably giggling over there, being like, they didn't pick Paul. Ricky got them some points. And then the big one for us is because we both got Katrina, so that kind of washed out. But the big one for us was Paige versus the Rebecca Cox.
Yeah.
That was a 22.5 point swing. So with that, we are, 61.7 points higher than they are so far this season. Wow.
Well, I knew it was going to happen like this. I've called it every step of the way.
You have.
And I said, we'll just do our consistent thing again and we'll gain points again. And I said, they're not going to pick Gannon. They're going to pick 2 other people. And he didn't win the tournament and we were still right. It's incredible.
It is crazy. They didn't win the tournament and we were still good to go. I love that. All right. Some listener questions to finish us out here. Let's see here. Sorry, I had so many. Let's see. Gosh, there are so many here. What do you think of the start of the Disc Golf Pro Tour schedule? To me, there are too many breaks to build momentum. Every time a tournament gets you hyped, there's a week off. What are your thoughts on that?
I think we need weeks off.
Yeah. I think if you go too much back to back, it also kind of waters them down.
Well, they're going to be pumped with the back-to-back majors then.
Oh, you're going to love that. Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. This is from Scarson. If any part of the disc is inbounds, is it fair or OB? Should be able to step on a marker disc if you want to just saying, did they flip it, then mark it? Maybe need smaller, flatter markers, maybe even like a stake, a T. I think I'm with Uli on this. I think it's just kind of one of those things that we all agree. If you remove the PGA officials, players, we all kind of agree that slips are going to happen. People are going to, step a little bit off to the side here and there. It's just like, as long as it's not crazy, I think we all agree that it's okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Question for Uli. Since he was caddying for AB on Sunday, he had a first row seat to Eagles game. For a guy with such a high ceiling, what do you think is missing piece for us to see Eagle the way we know he can dominate? That's a great question.
I mean, he looked good, honestly. I think he got that crazy call on that Mando, and he double bogeyed. So if he doesn't do that, I think he probably gets like a top 10 finish, which is solid.
Great.
I don't know. I think his disc selection was a little off. I think he needs to go more stable personally, because he's throwing like these flip up shots. And it might be something to do with his injury. Maybe he can't really chop down on his forehand or something. But one of the things I see with him is he has so much speed that to me, it looks like it's tough for him to control the flip of where it's turning and where it's not turning. And he was going really far past on a lot of holes to where I thought out of the hand looked really good. So I think with time, he's going to find some good slots for that, and we'll see him back up at the top.
It is a good one. In the Lott controversy, Silver, Kristin Lott's husband / caddy, was also arguing with the marshal from his caddy position. Should a caddy, husband, or any other than the golfers be talking to the marshal at all? That's
I think the caddy should be able to do it unless the player says, no, I got this. Especially in that situation, I think, because he probably has a good eye on what his player's doing. And so being part of, the player in that instance, I mean, the caddy does something bad, the player gets stroked. So he has a right to do that.
Yeah, I think Yuli's right on this. I think caddy and player are a team in this thing, and that's why I don't think you should be able to have a caddy that's not actually like carrying the bag and just like walking with you. That makes no sense. I think there are a team, and sometimes different players are going to have, maybe they don't feel comfortable talking, and they can have their caddy do it for them. So I think this is one of those things where a caddy can definitely step in and talk if that is their relationship. Should the PGA? Oh, I don't like that question. This one, Cardzilla. How much better is disc golf with Paige Pierce on lead card, Uli?
It's a lot better. I mean, if the familiarity, the great putting, she's got a fire about her that's like different than a lot of players. Like this. She brings like this what if factor to the screen. I think that we've been missing. And it's the same with Macbeth playing good now. It's this what if factor that everybody watched and is like, oh, could that happen again? Like that would be incredible. So it's a dynamic that we definitely need, and it's exciting to see.
Yeah, I think having like I said before, having an additional person at that high level playing, I think is great. And I think Paige does things that we don't get to see from a lot of other players. You know, I think she throws very aggressively, and that's fun to watch. And her putt, I mean, we don't get to see a lot of people putt from the distance she putts. I think Silva's another one, but there's a difference. Paige like doing that jump putt through the air.
Aggressive.
It is fun to watch, man. It is fun to watch. All right, final question here. Let's finish it out. Let's see here. That's an interesting, man. If you guys want to read some of these comments, just go to my Twitter. They're pretty good. Okay, here, final question. This is from King Prophet. Would like to know on calls like that if video can be used to help the player, or can you elaborate on why we don't have the option yet in disc golf? This is a good question. A lot of people are wondering, why can't we use video evidence?
Because everybody's not videoed. It's pretty simple. You know, lead card's getting videoed. 5th card isn't at times. 10th card isn't. And so that's why. It's not fair to be videoed over here. They have video evidence that it's going to crush them if they make a mistake. And person on the 9th card does the same exact thing. No recording, no evidence.
The only time I've ever seen it used is mostly photos, right? So not actual video, but photos. You can take a picture of a lie or something like that where no one on the card really knows what the rules are. Or maybe the rules aren't. This is a lot of times not for like Pro Tour events, but you can like end up going and showing the official tournament director after the fact, hey, this is where my disc was on hole 10. Is this in or out? Yeah. And then they can give the ruling there. So I have seen that for pace of play reasons. That's a lot better to do than to like wait for the TD to come all the way out there. But all right, did we miss anything? PDGA Mike, Gary, Uli, chat. How'd we do?
I think so.
I think we knew it was going to be a long episode. You got shoes up there?
Vessies looking good up there.
I got to message them. I want to try those out. I got to message them.
Yep.
I like it. I like it. All right. PGA Mike's happy. Gary's happy. Yuli's happy. I hope all you guys are happy. Shout out to everyone that was watching us live. Over 700 of you guys. Appreciate you all. If you guys can drop a like on the video, that helps us out a lot. To all of our listeners, come join us on the live. We go live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's always a good time. Next week, hoping to have Sullivan on. So that should be a good one, and getting geared up for the rest of the West Coast tour before we over into Europe. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate you all. Last thing. We have Discraft Tour Series discs over on they're everywhere, but if you want to pick them up and support Foundation Disc Golf, you can go to foundationdisc.com. Connor is starting a new break series. We'll see how long this one takes. Break 60 over at Hideaway, and the Bogey Bros battle is back. They take on someone at Zubalin. Have you ever heard of that course?
Never.
Zubalin. It's up on the YouTube channel, so go check that out. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week.